It's hard to imagine that 45 years ago, the World Series of Poker started in a room that was the size of a closet, and now it's the size of an airport.
This is what the main event's all about. The swings, the long hours, but it's all worth it in the end.
It's amazing. It is just beyond my wildest dreams. Right now, I'm just enjoying the ride and hoping it lasts, but we'll see.
I'm sure you could probably actually get hit by lightning before you win the main event. So, you know, the odds are not in your favor.
Today isn't the day to celebrate. Today is the day to stay focused.
Poker is a long journey. There's gonna be ups and downs. No matter how good you are, no matter how good you're running, you're gonna have lows.
This tournament isn't just a one-day event. It's a marathon, so can't get too excited. There's a long road ahead of you.
I'd rather win the main event once than win a favorable judgment in 25 straight divorce court hearings.
That's your Dolly Brunson, who wrote the book.
And there it is. Helmuth wins the championship. This is gonna be the best day of Ryan Reese is the world champion.
Biggest day of my life.
We're in the money at the main event. Now the focus is on the $10 million first place prize.
Day 5, baby, let's do this.
Big day. Let's do it. We're on day 5. I got 1.3 million in chips and ready to make back-to-back November 9s.
I mean business. Lassoing those chips, baby. They're coming right to me.
Day 5, excited. Nervous, but excited. Really looking forward to it.
Day 5, oh my God. Very exciting.
Right there, the winning ticket.
Hello, everyone. Under the watchful eye of 2013 champ Ryan Reese, I'm Lon McCarran with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. Mark Newhouse played with Ryan Reese at last year's final table.
And I think he's been wearing the exact same clothes every day since last year's final table, and it works.
Longtime poker pro Maria Ho is in chartered waters.
She talks a good game and she plays a good game. Well, I can do half of that. Kind of.
32-year-old Kyle Keranen has a huge stack and experience on his side.
He just looks like he's going to beat you. Then again, everyone looks like they're going to beat me.
And there's an amateur, Curtis Rystadt, a 44-year-old who calls himself a professional investor.
If he's a professional investor, I guess he runs roughshod over amateur investors, so I will stay out of his way.
291 remain. The average stack, 689,000. Matthew Haugen, the chip leader. Day 5 off and running. 3 chips in play. The 1K, 5K, and 25K presently.
6,683 started this main event, up 5% from last year. $10 million to the winner.
Folded to Keranen. He raised at 35,000 with ace 10. Rystadt, the amateur, with over 1 million chips here in the main event on day 5. King 6 into the muck. Blinds right now at 8 and 16,000 with a 2K ante. Small blind. Casey Stewart folds to the big blind. Timur Margolin, Jack 8 of diamonds. We saw Timur hit quad 10s on day 4.
I think we also saw him 10-bet somebody with 8 tray. He's a whirling dervish.
Born in Ukraine, his family moved to Israel when he was 6. And he will call for 19,000 more and go heads up. The flop, Jack 4-9, top pair for Margolin. Keranen misses.
Yeah,
Margolin checks.
Leather ass. Yeah, I remember that guy. So Leather and I played member together at Pumpkin Ridge.
Rystadt loves to chat, talking with Adam Coates during this hand.
He's a really good golfer.
Keranen bets 40,000.
And we get out there and we putt in on the 18,
Margolin.
and the head pro comes out, hands us a trophy, and he goes, "Oh, let's take your picture, guys." And we're like,
Makes the call.
There's like a bunch of
It's like there's a poker hand and a book club going on here at the same time.
Turn card now, king of diamonds. Margolin is still best with his pair of jacks. He checks. Kyle with some more hope with the Broadway draw. And Kyle reaching for chips once again. That's 100 grand.
This is Margolin's first main event. He finished 10th in a no-limit hold'em event earlier at this World Series.
Kyle Keranen has a top 40 finish at the main event a couple of years ago.
It's about the poker here.
And a stack of orange equals 100,000.
We don't get to wear any patches or anything, huh?
So there's the call.
Keranen has tried to shake off Margolin twice, and Margolin is still stuck to the bottom of his shoe.
River card is a tray, brings a third club on board, but Margolin ends up with the best hand and checks again.
Yeah, it's great to be friendly at the table, but when you're not in the hand, you need to be polite. Brian Devonshire wrote an article for Card Player where he talked about not breaking the zone of play. It's okay to converse on the other side of the table, but you shouldn't converse when players on either side of you are in a hand.
Kyle remains aggressive, 220 grand.
I got there again, huh?
Bet 220,000.
He's running good.
This will be a tough call for Margolin. Straight got there on the turn, flush got there on the river. He's sitting on second pair.
And he gives it up. Well done, Kyle. You were convincing the whole way.
I like it. I appreciate it.
Well, Keranen blocks out the clamor and makes a very nice play.
I was just totally joking.
Poker, like other sports, has unwritten rules of etiquette. Turn over your hand quickly if you have the nuts. Don't peek at your opponent's hole cards. And when another player is thinking, don't carry on a loud side conversation. Now, this last rule is tricky, and when violated over and over again, it can set players on edge.
Here's the thing, Lon. If you are writing a symphony or cooking a bouillabaisse or playing a poker hand, you don't want some incessant buzzing in your ear. You have to focus, or you might screw up the melody or put in ginger instead of garlic or fold when you meant to raise. I wouldn't be surprised if Curtis Rystadt showed up at a funeral with a bazooka. To Kyle Keranen's credit, his eyes are on the prize, and he's ignoring all the white noise around him.
He's got the glasses back on. That's Joe from
What if I go like
New York
this?
City.
Joe from New York. Yeah, he looks like Joe from New York.
Go like this.
Right by the place where they make the salsa, you know?
Joe from New York.
Curtis Rystadt making sure everyone is familiar with each other at this feature table. This group sits under the lights mainly because of Kyle Keranen, a top 10 stack and a game that suits the main event well.
Kyle blew up after leading the main event back in 2012. I don't expect that to happen again.
Rystadt is the third biggest stack at the table.
I don't know much about Curtis yet, but if first impressions count for anything, we'll be hearing a lot from him.
He opened for 35,000 with Jack-5 of clubs. In the cutoff, Casey Stewart has ace-king and has 3-bet to 85 grand. Back to Curtis now.
Rystadt wants to splash around with Jack-5. Well, his feet are going to get wet.
He calls, he's heads up, and Stewart got just what he wanted. Here is the flop, 5-10 king. Bottom pair for Rystadt. Stewart found his king. A check from Rystadt.
This is Stewart's 6th World Series cash, all in Hold'em events, and he's made 3 World Series circuit final tables.
And he checks top pair, top kicker, and a jack on the turn, and Rystadt turns jacks up to become the favorite and bets 50,000.
Bit of an odd slow play from Stewart on the flop. Players like to talk about balancing their ranges. That's too complicated for me, Lon. I just like to bet when I got it.
Stewart with a Broadway draw now makes the call. River card is another spade, the 9. Nice catch on the turn for Rystadt. He is the one who has the unbeatable hand. They both check.
2 pair.
And 2 pair is good.
Rystadt splashes his way to 2 pair. It is a winner.
Stewart not a happy camper. Curtis is always happy.
The Jackson 5. Can you say it with some soul? Jackson 5. That's where he started. That's where he started.
We'll be checking in constantly on Curtis Rystadt. Over to an outer table where 2013 November Niner Mark Newhouse sits. After his success last year, there does not seem to be a good reason to change things up.
This whole tournament, I've been feeling very relaxed. You know, last year I was very excited. You know, there's a lot on the line, but this year, as I told myself last year, whatever happens, happens, and finishing 9th obviously was disappointing, but I got the same mindset. Whatever happens, happens, and I'm out there having fun playing poker.
Well, he's having fun here with King 4. Newhouse can be spewy.
Mark with a big stack, over $2 million raised from early position. He was called by Gabe Paul with his pocket 7s on the button. The flop is 8-4-6. Newhouse with bottom pair. Paul with a gut shot to go with his 7s. Mark checks.
Paul might be the bizarro Ben Stiller.
Paul checks. Turn card 5 of spades. Paul hits his straight, and he's got a straight flush draw. Mark drawing to a chop at best. He checks.
Paul, a 24-year-old DePaul grad.
And bets 41,000. And now Mark Newhouse. Easy call for him, huh?
Well, there's something about Gabe Paul that makes Newhouse think his hand is best.
River card. 8 of clubs. Newhouse is dead in the water, and he checks again. Now, Gabe Paul, who lives in Las Vegas now, bets 127,000.
Newhouse senses he's being bluffed by Paul. Doesn't put him on a flush, doesn't put him on a full house, and he certainly doesn't put him on a 7 for a straight, but Bizarro Ben Stiller has 2 7s.
Mark thinking the bottom pair might be good. He does call.
That's a straight line twice.
That is so Mark Newhouse, not afraid to take that chance. Newhouse takes about a 10% hit to his stack, but he's still alive for back-to-back main event final tables. A look at the Pinball Hall of Fame here in Las Vegas. 10,000 square feet of nothing but pinball. And there is the big stack at the featured table, Kyle Keranen. For the second time in 3 years, this Vegas pro is in great position to make the final 9.
A cool aspect to me being in this tournament still right now is that I've been here before and I can draw on that experience.
There's your chip leader, Drake University's Kyle Keranen.
It's just amazing to be able to redo it. I mean, I was chip leader going into day 6 last year and I got 38. To be able to be here again and to have a redo is just, I mean, it's unreal. You know, I had a lot of nerves 2 years ago. I was playing for $8.5 million. And I mean, that just kind of blew my mind. I didn't really expect to have that kind of success. That was hard to deal with. I didn't sleep much on day 6. It was really hard for me to play well. Meanwhile, this year I've been sleeping like a baby. I just have no pressure on me at all, no nerves. I feel like I'm in total control. So, I mean, I just feel like that experience is just adding so much edge to my game right now.
Keranen, a cash game grinder here in Las Vegas, plays 5 or 6 days a week.
My friend from the other side of the pond. What's your name?
Stuart. Well, here Stuart. Home Stuart.
No, you gotta do
We
that
say it
again.
right.
Wait, hold on. Get a close-up on his face when he says that, because I don't know the difference there. So
here
it's
Stuart.
Stuart.
And they spell it wrong. Home it's Stuart. Nicely. Spelled correctly.
Are you saying we don't speak nicely?
May or may not be.
It's Stuart.
Your auntie, please.
My last name is Stuart.
Is it really? Spelled right or spelled wrong?
According to you, probably
EW.
spelled incorrectly.
Yeah,
but I think it's spelled correct.
Are you saying you don't know how to spell your own name? Same with conviction. You know how to spell it. He spells it right. Stuart.
Curtis Rystadt, quite the MC at this featured table. Adam Coates under the gun with King, Queen of Diamonds.
You could say it like from Family Guy.
Raised to
Family.
35,000.
Same accent as well, actually, isn't it? Yeah.
Let me hear your best Stewie.
Same as, I've never seen it, but I just, same shape of head as well.
You watched Downton Abbey.
Of course.
Of course.
And Marry Harry.
You know who was the best comedian? Benny Hill.
Yeah, big time.
Big time. Oh, he was awesome. I loved his skits.
England don't do many things well, but we have all the best comedians. There are no comedians here, apart from yourself. But I've never seen your show.
Jerry Seinfeld, Bob Hope.
Never heard of them.
You've never heard of Bob Hope?
I genuinely haven't. Jerry Seinfeld, I've heard the name.
You've heard the name?
Yeah.
A lot of people these days probably haven't heard of Bob Hope, and that is
Drew
sad.
Carey?
But they can't be funny because they don't do sarcasm.
They don't do what?
They don't do sarcasm.
Oh, sorry. That is really big in England, isn't it?
All right, heads up.
Sarcasm.
That's all we have.
Top pair for Coates.
We have a comedian that played this, Ray Romano.
By the way, I'll call there Benny Hill and Rays with Sid Caesar.
Okay,
A check from Keranen.
I'm trying to say it in English.
42,000 from Coates with top pair.
You give what a year?
Rystadt again violating the zone with his talk. He's chatting with someone across the table while 2 players are in a hand in that chat zone.
Yeah.
And it looks like Kyle's in a check raising bluffing mood. 92,000 he makes it.
Well, Kyle slept well and is check raising with 5 high on that board. Maybe he needs to sleep less. You mentioned Coates is a poker dealer. Well, he should deal Rystadt a bad beat one day for blabbering into his ear while he's in a big pot.
Adam told us he was a nervous wreck coming to this featured table. Turn card 6 of hearts, and now Kyle with a lot of reasons to stick around, picking up a straight flush draw.
Yeah, that turn card enables Keranen to switch from a bluff to a semi-bluff. He's still got 5 high.
Looks like Keranen wants to continue his aggression. He bets 115,000.
Coates looks suspicious of that bet, as he should be. The smell of squadouche is quite pungent.
Well, Coates still has the best hand, and there is just a call. River card now is the 7 of hearts, and Keranen finds a flush in the hand that he was just trying to bluff early on.
Nah, his plan was to get there live.
All in.
And Keranen puts Coates all in.
I don't know if I would put them all in. Even with that raggedy board, it's hard to call off all your chips with top pair.
Adam Coates will fold, and Kyle will stack more chips, continuing to be the dominant player at this table.
I wonder what Kyle would have done there if he missed on the river.
Kyle up to more than 3.8 million chips. Almost 6,700 players began the main event. Just over 4% of them were women. We have 4 left here on day 5. Marcia Kuntz, a divorce attorney from Maryland, playing in her first main event.
Divorce attorney? I thought she looked familiar.
Mikio Aoki's still in the game. She finished second at this year's ladies event for almost 100 grand.
She's done some poker dealing.
Darlene Lee has the shortest stack of the 4 females remaining.
She works as a cancer researcher in British Columbia, Canada.
And the most recognizable, Maria Ho, who has Sean Kelly halfway out the door. Maria flopped a pair of aces, leaving Kelly few options with his pocket jacks.
Kelly, a Mount Sinai, New York amateur.
Maybe taking a last drink. Turn card. Deuce of spades. So Kelly down to his last chance.
He's got to have a jack.
River card is a king. Aces up from Maria Ho. And that will be the last hand Sean Kelly plays at this main event.
This woman has no regard for any man in her poker path.
So Sean Kelly goes out in 228th place. Good for over 38 grand. Maria Ho now over the million chip mark. 208 players left in the 2014 main event. 10 million goes to first place. Looking at some of our first-timers still in the field, Canada's Brad Tuck and Tom Serra Jr., a former poker dealer from Ohio.
Poker dealers are a delight to play with, and they're usually the only players I can beat.
Back to the very entertaining feature table.
No, seriously. I love the way that he knows how to wear a baseball hat. These young kids now, it's like they got the brim flat. They still got the sticker on there, which I don't understand. And then they wear. What about what is it? What did you say this wearing it backwards means? That means I didn't.
This guy's like obsessed with baseball hats, dude. He's been talking about baseball hats for 2 hours.
You should see how cool it looks when you wear this backwards.
It's unreal.
Can you wear that backwards?
Don't think about it too much.
Now, a cowboy hat you would never wear backwards.
Fixation.
I played at the table earlier. The guy, he wore his glasses like this, but when he got in the hand, and then he flipped them upside down. I don't understand what that's all about.
I got a feeling Rystadt could clear a room at a dinner party.
Kyle, that's a big monster stack. What do you have? Are you over 4 yet?
Keranen apparently desires no dialogue with Rystadt.
Learned that one from you.
Attaboy.
I think Rystadt learned to play 4-tray off from himself.
Well, it has been
35.
folded to the small blind, so Poker Code says raise. He makes it 35,000. Christian Rotondo in the big blind with 10-7 of spades.
35-year-old Argentinian poker pro. This is his 3rd World Series cash this year.
Looks like he feels like defending his big blind, and he does make the call.
Small blind raises, big blind defends. Pretty standard pre-flop action.
Rotondo turned 36 on day 4 of the main event. 1 spade in there, tray 8-4. Rystadt with bottom 2 pair.
Yeah, and 4-tray now is playing like pocket aces.
26,000, a small bet. No immediate help on that flop for Rotondo.
Yeah, that bet should end matters.
Say again?
Oh, Rotondo has other thoughts, Lana. I never have any thoughts.
He does call for 26,000. Turn card now.
Representative.
Is a 10. That pairs Rotondo, but he better be careful with top pair. 80,000 now from Rystadt.
Rotondo originally was probably intending to bluff the turn. Now he's probably thinking he might have the best hand with top pair.
But Rystadt, as you see, flopped 2 pair, and there is the raise, Norman, to 185. He's lit the fuse now.
The best thing about Rystadt being in a hand is that he stops talking.
Rystadt puts Rotondo all in, and Rotondo calls.
Wow. I just think Rotondo started this hand with too many chips to be calling all in with 1 pair on the turn.
Christian Rotondo's going to have to make it happen on the river, or his main event is done.
King of diamonds, please.
Rotondo needs a 10, 8, or 7.
The river is a 5. Rotondo is gone.
Gracias, amigo. Buena suerte,
Out in 208th place, he wins almost $45,000. A nice birthday run for Rotondo.
Well done there by Curtis Rystadt.
Curtis reaching towards $2 million now. A nice bump with that knockout.
You're good at that 2-pair trick.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you're really good at making 2 pair.
Well, I'll be honest. There's someone that I'd like to make a good hand against.
I think I can figure out who that is.
Because then we could have a little fun, couldn't we?
Rystadt enjoying himself, sometimes at the expense of the big stack.
When I was younger, I remember saying, you know, you're a kid. I can't do that. And my dad would say, why, yes, you can. You're a Rystadt. You can do it. I drank the Kool-Aid. I mean, I believe it 100%. This is the big boy table. We play in a home game every week. I've ridden everybody at the table. We just ride each other. It's good fun, good natured. I'm not trying to make anybody upset or mad. I have been known to get people to go on tilt, so I guess there's an advantage strategy-wise that way. At the end of the day, I want to have fun. And, you know, if you're not having fun, then what are you doing here?
The Jackson 5. Can you say it with some soul? Jackson 5.
Gracias, amigo. Buena suerte, You're going to make money. And how many times did you come to Vegas and you're going to leave with more money than you came? That doesn't happen too often. So why wouldn't you be smiling? Why wouldn't you be happy? You get busted out, all right? So you get busted out, you know? You got money in your pocket. You didn't lose anything. You know, it's a free roll. That's how you handle the big stack bully. You pop him right back. Pop.
Keranen trying to ignore the Curtis Rystadt show.
I know. I was a bully when I was a kid.
You're alone in a room, do you just sit there and talk to yourself? Because you haven't shut up for 4 hours. And do you see how everybody laughs?
Yeah.
They agree with me.
You're just
a monologue. It just keeps going. It's not interesting. It's not funny. You just sit there and talk to yourself. It's ridiculous. I've never met anybody like you.
Well, of course you haven't.
And the answer to this question is yes, is that?
Yes, absolutely.
Talking to him, Mike. And there's nothing
you know,
wrong
when
with
I got
that.
no sleep, I thought I'd be playing at this table with you, and I was going to see how I could tilt you.
Yeah, I'm off my game completely. You did it.
I can't wait to get in a hand with you.
Now we got a poker game.
Absolutely. Get in there, big boy.
What were we playing before? Wasn't poker?
Bridge.
I sympathize with Kyle's irritation, but he would have been better served not to voice it.
Well, there is a line in any competition that one should not cross, and Curtis might be straddling the line right now. He raises with Queen-Jack suited to 35 grand.
And the other thing for Kyle to think about, when you engage Rystadt, I think you're playing his game.
God, I don't want you to get upset. I'm just trying to have fun. Wherever I go, I try to have fun.
I'm not upset. I don't care. Just you got 50 opinions for my one, so I figured I'd offer my opinion about you.
I like it. Now that we got your opinion, the only thing I'm lacking is your chips.
Good luck with that.
Curtis is escalating this confrontation. Where will he go next? Back in a moment.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high roller bowl 7 champion.
Oh yeah!
Wheels are coming off. That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that bite?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
Welcome back to the Rio. It takes 7 days of play to get to the final table. We're just starting day 5. David Einhorn over 640 grand.
The rich get richer. How much richer can he get? Jeez.
Toronto native Griffin Benger has the 3rd biggest stack in the room.
You cannot win the main event wearing a Toronto Blue Jays cap.
Norway's Felix Stevenson survived the seat next to Phil Ivey and has over 900,000.
And where is Phil Ivey right now? I don't care because he's dead to me.
Back to the main event of the main event. Curtis Rystadt at this featured table. Queen Jack of Hearts.
Married with 3 kids. This is his 7th main event.
Raise 35,000. You only pick on people smaller than you.
Oh, I want to get in with the big guy. So you get full value if you get it all in. The complete double up.
Casey Stewart. Jack 10 suited.
Unmarried with a dog.
Lives in Vegas. 4th straight main event he's played in. First cash, he calls. Timur Margolin on the button with pocket 9s.
Married with a son. The main event is a panoply of living souls.
Big blind, Stuart Rudder.
Curtis, if I call as well, you tell one of your jokes at the end of the hand? Promise?
I'm going to work on one. I had a little banter here with the big stack next to me. I'll think a good one here.
Blinds fold, 3 players will see the flop.
I know.
That's your problem.
The other ones are good.
Yeah, they were. I'm not sure the feature table appropriate.
5 queen 8, top pair for Rystadt. 30,000, a gut shot for Stewart.
30,000? That makes it almost a bargain to chase your gut shot.
And Stewart will do at least that. He has more. He raises to 83,000, and the pocket 9s for Margolin are a long shot.
Yeah, I don't much like pocket 9s here with a bet and a raise in front of him.
Margolin chips in hand and cold calls Stewart's raise.
Wow. Online, you can call by accident, Lon. It's harder to do live.
Let's play a pot, boys.
He's not going anywhere. So almost 400,000 in the middle.
Booyah. Where's Joe? It's time to cowboy up right now. I like it. I like it. You stare at him, I'll stare at you.
He's not staring at you, though.
Turn card now. Another queen and trips for Rystadt. Stewart with a straight flush draw now. Rystadt checks.
How does Rystadt check there?
Stewart checks.
Stewart says, I'll gladly take a free one to draw to my straight flush.
Margolin's 9s, an even longer shot now, and he checks.
Wisely.
How'd that happen?
River card now. And how did that happen? The one outer comes through. Margolin scores 9s full, and that gives a straight to Stewart.
25.
But it's Rystadt betting 225.
Yeah, that river 9 hits 2 hands, and the one hand it didn't hit leads out. Stewart, of course, never folding here, contemplating a raise.
With a queen high straight. And that's just a call.
Margolin had a 4% hand on the flop and a 2% hand on the turn. Well, 4% on the flop plus 2% on the turn equals 100% on the river.
Now, how much can he get from the other 2 guys here?
All in.
He says all in for 474. Trip queens for Rystadt. And a fold. And now Stewart.
And Stewart getting better than 5-1 on a call. But if he calls here, he'll be down to 8 big blinds.
What a spot for Stewart.
Sir, by the way, would you tell
You can play all sets that way.
Clyde here that you were requesting me to make a joke? He was under the impression the whole table agreed with him.
Rystadt just called Keranen Clyde.
He did, didn't he?
And I know he's got me confused with someone who cares about his opinion.
There we go, there's the joke. We got it out.
It was funnier because you laughed at it, right? When you make a joke, you're supposed to laugh at it yourself. It makes it funnier.
Oh, you like the dry humor? Kyle, let's hear you tell a joke.
Are they awarding chips for jokes here? I thought this was a poker table.
It is a poker table.
Somebody's giving away chips for running your mouth? Because you're going to get first in that one.
Well, then I'm already in the lead.
There's the laugh. There it is. Yes. Got to punctuate your jokes by laughing at them.
You know what? You got a good smile, though. You should be grimacing all the time.
And now he's trying to get a date. Sorry, guys.
Meanwhile, Stewart with a critical decision.
Take your time. Kyle's entertaining us.
Again, the chatter does not give due regard to a fellow player with a critical decision. Stewart cannot put Margolin on a hand. He might be deciding whether Margolin has 7-6 for a straight. He can't figure Margolin calling a bet and a raise on that flop with pocket nines.
Stewart calls.
No, that's full.
And he will ship most of his stack to Margolin.
I had everybody beat on the turn.
Oh, really?
He's got a 10.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah, both hands. Turn him over. I had to beat.
That's Jack 10, obviously.
Yeah, no, I know. I should have shipped on the turn.
Margolin nearly triples up when his affection for pocket nines pays off in the end, while Stewart suffers a terrific blow to his main event chances.
He re-raises me, and then when the queen comes, I'm like,
You had queen jack?
I had queen jack. I'm waiting him for you guys bet on the turn. You both call. I know. That's what I love about that. You guys have no respect, and then I turn. I got you guys drawn to.
They're both drawn to the same river card.
Yeah, and they get there. And what I love is they have no respect for my game. that guy's in there with Jackson 5.
If they don't respect your jokes, you might as well go home. Leave your chips and go.
Now, critique this. Stewart. Was that better? Stewart? Much better. You got it.
Main event update. Kyle Keranen still not amused. Welcome back inside the Amazon room. Just 198 players remaining, each with a chance at the $10 million first place prize. But it's Griffin Benger with the best chance right now as the chip leader. 10th place Bruno Politano in a dream scenario with pocket kings. He flopped set over set against former chip leader Zach Gigante. Politano bet 279 on the flop. Gigante with a set of nines, with a raise to 657.
Set over set has destroyed more young poker lives than Doyle Brunson and clubbing combined.
Politano owns a women's accessory store in Brazil. One group of chips comes off the table, and $1.2 million go into the middle.
Lon, this story gets told a lot at the poker table, and it always ends up with all the chips in the middle.
You saw both of these guys on the leaderboard. Gigante with a slightly bigger stack.
Gigante hoping Politano has top two here, but deep down, he knows he's in trouble.
Raises Politano all in, and there's the call from Bruno, who's just 2 cards away from a massive double up and the main event chip lead.
Gigante needs a one-outer here. Politano sweating as a 24-1 favorite. Hate to see what he looks like when he buys a Powerball ticket.
So Gigante in big-time trouble when he thought he was the one holding the reins. 5 of clubs. Gigante still looking for that one-outer.
Only the last 9 in the deck saves Gigante.
The river card is an 8. Politano survives and thrives now as the top stack in the room.
Gigante cut down to 22 big blinds.
And you look at our player tracker, and what a boon that was to the Brazilian from 10th place all the way to the main event chip lead on day 5. And as you mentioned, Norman, Gigante now with scraps, 358,000 chips. There is a new boss in the house, Bruno Politano. 198 players left in the field. We check in once again with the divorce attorney from Maryland, Marcia Kuntz. Though she's never represented Norman Chad, she is one of the remaining first-timers left in the field.
I went to film school. I still work in film. I'm an editor. I play cards part-time. It's been going pretty well the last couple of years. It's been a roller coaster over the last couple days. I'm peaking right now, so that's awesome. Just broke 200K for the first time. Happy to be in it still. My flight is the red-eye home tomorrow night, so probably push it back if I make dinner break tonight. It's kind of like setting in that I'm actually here. It feels really great. And get this, my table draw for tomorrow, I don't know if you see that, it says 384 seat 5, and that's the seat I've been in all day today. I feel like that's got to be some run good right there, so I'm feeling excited for tomorrow.
I was a poker dealer in West Virginia, had to quit that. I became a full-time caregiver for my grandma. This means a lot to her, and it means a lot to me because finally made it out here for the main, you know. It's really exciting. I do have designs on surviving one hand, one level, one day at a time. A little bit of the burden is lifted once you get in the money. So yeah, feeling good. My goal for the tournament is to continue on to day 5 and then on to day 6. And then what? We'll wrap play on day 7. And I plan on a nice relaxing break between day 7 and November.
I'm a lawyer. I'm in sort of this tournament pool, and I won a part of the buy-in, so I had to use it for something at the WSOP, so I decided I'd go for the main event. Poker is kind of an obsession. I love it. I could just do it for hours, just completely lose myself in it. I just keep extending my flight and my hotel night by night because I don't want to jinx it. I made some pretty big mistakes earlier and lost a lot of chips, but I'm just trying to methodically make my way back up. It's a grind, but it's the greatest thing in the world. This is the ultimate fulfillment of an obsession, and I don't want to go home, so I'm trying to hang in there.
Marcia feeling pretty good right now after turning quad 10s against Hugh Wynn, who's thinking if I could just fill my straight on the river. 50,000 from Marcia. And Wynn makes it 125K.
That's not his optimal play.
You don't think?
Oh, look at this. Act 1, Scene 1 of Marcia Kuntz in distress.
I call.
Just a call with 4 10s. Wynn says, why did you call? River card 4 of diamonds.
Act 2, Scene 1. Marcia Kuntz in distress.
Win. That's out. 70,000.
One bet. 70,000.
Act 2, Scene 2.
Marcia figuring out how to get the full double up.
Act 3, Scene 1. It's a surprise ending. She's no longer in distress.
A raise to 200,000. Now will Win wave the white flag.
Oh.
He does.
Couldn't shove.
Oh, nice.
Poker code, gotta show the quads.
Hey, she's no shyster. She's Meryl Streep.
You picked that time not to shove?
Marcia with almost 1.3 million chips, this first timer making the most of her main event debut. It's the tournament that poker players dream about all year long, the World Series of Poker main event. Short stack Casey Stewart all in with ace-9, called by Kyle Keranen with ace-5.
For 9-ball. 9-ball.
Curtis Rystadt upping the ante on his third-rate antics, outwardly rooting against Keranen.
The flop is 7 deuce 7, the bigger ace of Stewart, still bigger.
9 on the river like last time, not this time.
9 on the river last time against Margolin, took away most of Stewart's stack.
Turn card king of spades. Well, the favorite right now is a chop pot, actually.
Lower than 10, please.
And it's a 6. No chop. Stewart's kicker will play. He'll collect the full double up.
Nice. Nice. Let's chip away at him, boys.
Curtis trying to gang up on Kyle.
If us minnows can get together, we can chip away at the big bully chip leader shark.
Are you advocating team play, sir?
No, I'm advocating you getting felted.
That's funny. These jokes are really good. God, man, just shut up. Seriously.
I can see you control your temperament very well.
You're just a clown, dude. Seriously. Most annoying player I've ever played with in my entire life.
Well, I would be disappointed if I wasn't.
Literally, without question. On TV, no less.
Wherever.
Class act. I bet that's a phrase you haven't heard very often in your life.
Yeah. Adam has played with me before.
Folded to Keranen, ace-9 off. And a raise to 35,000.
Kyle has a degree in international relations, but I doubt there was ever a class on the Rystadt conundrum.
Curtis with ace-queen of diamonds here. And just a call.
Curtis clearly has gotten under Kyle's skin, but I wish Kyle could contain his reactions of late.
Lest they become collateral damage, everyone else folds.
You and me, Kyle. Awesome.
Yeah, at this point, Rystadt would have played 2 cards from an Uno deck against Kyle.
Jack-Jack 7, Rystadt's kicker still the difference maker here. A check from Kyle, a check from Curtis. Turn card 8 of clubs, misses both of them. And like last hand, a chop pot is a possibility. Check, check. River card 6 of hearts. A check again. Nobody can pull the trigger.
Well, Kyle played his ace high well. He'll lose the minimum.
Curtis will take that small pot.
We get a little of him. Some of those chips. They got a lot of work to do, though.
Rystadt trying to chip away at the big stack, but Kyle Keranen not in a giving mood.
I can see you control your temperament very well.
You're just a clown, dude. Seriously.
Now that we've got your opinion, the only thing I'm lacking is your chips.
Somebody's giving away chips for running your mouth.
Well, then I'm already in the lead.
Most annoying player I've ever played with in my entire life.
Well, I would be disappointed if I wasn't.
Literally, without question.
Zach Gigante, once a force in this event, now gone in 185th place.
He was a kid with a dream.
But he'll collect almost 45 grand. Maria Ho not leaving the Rio anytime soon. She has over 1 million chips.
I wanted to compete on the Amazing Race, but they told me I couldn't do it from my couch.
The average stack is what Maria sits with. Bruno Politano, the man to beat with 4.8 million. Back to poker's new odd couple.
Wouldn't you like to double up through him?
I'm not particular about who I double up through. I'd
But
be
he's
happy
got
to double through
you
anybody
get full
that has me
value
covered.
with him. You know, he's full value.
Rystadt and Keranen. Action on Kyle, and with an opportunity here, pocket aces.
Kyle has been thinking about moving back to Los Angeles to pursue acting again, but frankly, I think he'd move to LA right now just to get away from Curtis Rystadt.
A raise to 35,000. Adam Coates folds.
Give me the 8-7 suited.
Why does he even look when Kyle's in a hand? You know he's going to play.
Well, he's been dying to play pots with Kyle, and that should eventually burn him.
Raise.
Queen 4 off, and he announces re-raise. He makes it 85 grand, and Kyle says, thank you.
Yeah, on the inside, Kyle Keranen is bouncing around like Richard Simmons.
But he has to wait for the rest of the table to act. No other takers so far. So now back to Kyle Keranen with the aces, re-raised by Curtis Rystadt. And he repops it, 4-bets it to 260.
Pocket aces against Rystadt. Keranen just wants to shout that out to the world.
Instantly. Opportunity to get all you can eat buffet.
No slow play from Keranen. And wow, Rystadt willing to burn through his chips in an attempt to trip up Kyle.
Here is the flop. King, king, 4. Aces up now for Keranen. King's up for Rystadt. Kyle checks.
Yeah, that board might worry Kyle a little.
A check back from Curtis. Turn card now is another 4. Oh my goodness. Salt in the wound. Curtis turns a full boat and Kyle checks.
Yeah, Lon, that turn card is a slap in the face to poker justice and human justice.
A check back from Rystadt.
How does Curtis not bet there?
Wow, 9 of clubs. So Keranen's aces have been cracked.
No, can't blame Kyle for betting. Can't blame Kyle for thinking. He finally has his man.
And look at that look on Curtis's face. More, he's saying to Kyle. Bring more into the middle. 380.
Call.
Aces, no good here.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a full boat. Thanks for playing.
That's Bush League. Thanks for coming.
Any pot, blind I'm going to call. Because I'm going to stack you. Gone. Get in pots with me, please. I want the full value.
Yeah, you got it there, man. Got that 1 bet. That's full value.
Well, you can't put them. I can't get them from you if you don't put them in.
Are we all having dinner together or what?
I'll make reservations.
That's the way it's going.
The more they hate you at first, the more they love you in the end.
He's gonna love me later.
Don't sweat it, Kirsty.
I can promise you.
Come on, we'll give you.
That's not true.
TV timeout. Give him a chance to come when he come back, would you?
So you didn't laugh after you said that, so no one knew if it was a joke or not.
He laughed.
Oh, he did laugh?
Oh, that's a shame. That's a full boat. Thanks for playing. Any pot, blind I'm gonna call.
You're the man.
Because I'm gonna stack you.
You're the man.
Gone.
Welcome back to the World Series of Poker Main Event. 183 players left. $10 million awaits a champion. I'm Lon McCarran with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. Poker pro Maria Ho is one of the stars still left in the game.
She's turning the main event into her own amazing race to the November 9.
Mark Newhouse still in contention for unlikely back-to-back main event final tables.
If he makes back-to-back main event final tables, I will climb the Sears Tower in flip-flops.
That's the chip leader, Brazil's Bruno Politano, stacked at over $5 million.
This guy snaps his fingers when he's looking for a card on an all-in, and it actually works.
Politano with a huge chip lead over the field, 7 Americans in the top 10.
And as usual of late, youth being served at the main event, no one in that top 10 over the age of 33.
At our feature table, there is Curtis Rystadt, a big stack who has a way with words.
Yeah, he's allowed to talk. He's mic'd up.
The recipient of those words, Las Vegas pro Kyle Keranen. Here is Kara Scott with a report on what has transpired.
Curtis Rystadt, a non-professional player from Portland, Oregon, who now lives in Mexico, has a different sort of way of dealing with the pros at the table. He's been very active with his table talk, and it's definitely starting to set some nerves on edge. I spoke with him at the break, and he says it is his intention to put players off balance, and he plans to keep on doing it. In fact, he really loves it when they pretend it doesn't bother them, and he can see that he's getting under their skin.
And boy, he gets under a lot of skin.
Instead of nothing personal, put a beat on him and just say something personal.
Oh, dude, I want to put a beat on him bad.
What did I do to make you upset? Just because I have more chips than you?
Oh, you do? Well, that's why I like it.
Is that it?
That's actually the most positive thing you got going for yourself. You can double me up.
I think everyone is wondering just how much fuse does Kyle have left at over 2.8 million. He is the big stack at this table.
One of the most underrated parts of tournament poker, your table draw. Just ask Kyle.
Curtis Rystadt is the second biggest stack at this table.
When your focus is another player and not playing your best, things can go wrong. Curtis, ease off the gas, my man.
Blinds right now at 10 and 20,000 with a 3K ante. Folded to Kyle Keranen, the 32-year-old Minnesota native, ace-10 offsuit.
And Rystadt just licking his chops, hoping Kyle enters the pot.
Kyle putting together a raise. That's 45,000. Adam Coates stuck in the middle here, a poker dealer from Washington State. Jack-9 of hearts. Folded to Rystadt. Ace-deuce suited.
This is going to be shocking, but I'm going to call.
Do you want to play a pot with him?
I almost didn't look, but I figure I have to look. That way you guys don't re-raise me calling blind.
I still might re-raise Curtis, knowing he's coming into pots with Kyle holding just about any 2 cards.
Here we go. Let the fun begin. What do you say, Clyde?
He calls Kyle Keranen Clyde again.
Heads up. 10 king-7 middle pair for Keranen. A miss for Rystadt.
This feud is starting to take on a Nas Jay-Z quality.
Check, check. Jack of clubs gives both Broadway draws.
I actually think these two might enjoy running through water sprinklers together.
Keranen checks. Rystadt drawing dead to scooping this pot, but does bet 60,000.
They could make paper airplanes together. That's worked for us, Lon.
It has indeed. Look how long we've been together. And there's the call with a pair of 10s.
He won't look at him, but Kyle has Curtis in his sights.
River card, 5 of spades. So Keranen is best with the 10s. Check. Check. And Keranen will take that one.
Score 1 for the besieged poker pro.
Best way to muzzle your irritating opponent, take their chips.
Nice hand, Kyle.
Thanks.
You're not playing as aggressive as you were at the earlier tables.
Maybe I wasn't playing that aggressive at all. Maybe I just had hands.
Well, that'd be true, except I snap called you with that jack, and I was right when you shoved on me, raised me.
For the first time in his life, Kyle probably wishes he wasn't fluent in English.
All right, we got 151 minutes left to play together. Let's just keep it friendly. Try to enjoy ourselves here.
Yeah, I've been having such a bad time. Hey, Joe. Does it look like I'm having a bad time?
Miserable.
On a day where the main event condensed to fewer than 200 players, Kyle Keranen and Curtis Rystadt have stood out from the field. Sure, both have well above average stacks, but it's their verbal confrontations that have attracted the most attention. It seems that the 32-year-old Keranen and the 44-year-old Rystadt have a hate-hate relationship on the felt, Norman.
If Curtis Rystadt played solitaire, I believe he would trash talk himself. His game plan here is simple: get under Kyle Kerenen's skin. But there's a fine line between playing the game and being a schlemiel. Rystadt says it's all in fun, but he's the only one laughing. Besides, if he really wants to get the best of Kyle Keranen, it's not enough to out-talk him. He's going to have to outplay him.
Curtis is walking a sharp edge here. Kyle is the only one who can double him up, but Kyle is the only one who can knock him out at this point also. All right, back to action at the featured table. Timur Margolin raised in middle position with Trey Deuce suited. It's folded now to Kyle in the big blind with 2 threes.
And I'm not eating trail mix. It wasn't part of the getup. You know, just on purpose.
I don't know what cowboy junk food is. Is that what trail mix? Is that what it is? I mean,
I think so.
The cowboy Joe LaCaruba is actually a New York dentist.
A big stack here. Kyle Keranen now with the pocket pair, re-raises to 105,000. Back to Margolin, 30-year-old, born in Ukraine, but moved to Israel at age 6. He's a poker pro.
3 deuce suited, a good home game hand.
Right.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic at TV tables, Lon. 2 types of players, those that tighten up and those that like to show off.
And there's a call from Margolin.
In his first main event, Margolin wants to get his money's worth.
All right, here's the flop. 8-4 deuce, how about that? Kerenen's trays are still good, even though Margolin hit that board.
A pretty safe flop for Kerenen's pocket threes.
And he will bet 125,000. Margolin now, who has a piece of that flop.
Yeah, he's thinking pretty good flop for me. I paired my deuce, and he just might have big cards.
That often happens. And there's a call. Turn card now. Ace of diamonds, both now with a wheel draw.
I'd have to say Curtis has a somewhat unhealthy fascination with Kyle.
And now Kyle will put out 260,000.
Margolin is a big New York Knicks fan of all things, so he's used to playing from behind.
Kyle is a well-traveled poker pro. Not easily scared of a turned ace, and he does get Margolin to fold.
Keranen makes it look easy.
Kyle Keranen now over 3,330,000 at this featured table, and that's not the result Curtis Rystadt was looking for.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high roller bowl 7 champion.
Oh, yeah.
Wheels are coming off.
That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that fight?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
Welcome back to the main event. We have just lost another player. David Einhorn, the billionaire hedge fund manager, out in 173rd place. Another very respectable finish. He finished 18th back in 06.
He just increased his net worth by like 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10 of 1%.
This was a challenging tournament for me because I never really accumulated chips. And so I was below average stack literally from the end of the first level on the first day. And to just kind of hang in there, you know, and catch a few cards and play like I did, I'm real happy with this result.
So now we're looking at 20 tables of action remaining in this year's main event. And one of our first-timers, Brad Tuck, is looking to double up with a flop straight. He called all in with 43 big blinds, hoping to dodge trouble from Jeff Loiacono and his flush draw.
Loiacono, California pro, who cashed also in last year's main event.
Use of spades.
Mother fudgesicles.
Sorry, man.
Loiacono scores the flush and the knockout.
I hate when they say sorry after knocking someone out. Ever see boxers do that?
That's what I get for flopping the nuts.
Tuck is gone. Loiacono sits with nearly 2.5 million chips. Good main event debut for the Canadian amateur. Other first-timers still in the field. Tom Serra Jr. with a below-average stack now.
39-year-old poker dealer, all of Youngstown, Warren and Girard, Ohio, rooting for him.
And your favorite first-timer, Marcia Kuntz, the divorce attorney from Maryland.
She's top-notch, so I did the Tony Soprano thing. I talked with her so that my wife couldn't hire her.
To Mickey Aoki, who turned a king-high flush and put out a river bet of 275 after Eddie Sabat checked, holding just a pair of fours with an ace.
Sabat, a 28-year-old LA pro.
All right, clock. I need a clock on myself.
I tried to call the clock on myself during my second marriage.
But she beat you to it.
Floor 378.
Eddie's struggling with this.
I can't see
See, nine called time on himself.
Can't call time on yourself. No, I can't see the clock.
That's sufficient time, 2 minutes or more. You have 50 seconds stacked on your hand. If you haven't acted, you get a 10-second count.
Well, someone else helped him out and called a clock on him.
Let me make it easy for Eddie. Forget the fact that the flush got there on the turn. You were beat by your jacks on the flop.
Eddie makes the call. And yeah, he'll never see those chips again. A nice pot for Aoki as Sabat knocked down to below 600,000.
The Concordia College grad in her first main event.
Web designer from Bozeman, Montana, finished second in this year's World Series ladies event. Bruno Politano now still holding on to his overall chip lead on day 5 as we go back to the featured table where Curtis Rystadt has been a huge mosquito buzzing around Kyle Keranen.
So Clyde, do you golf?
I play. I'm not the best, but
Oh, I'd be glad to play you.
I shoot around 90.
We can go play for some cash if you'd like.
Might take you up on that.
Huh?
So I might take you up on that.
I'll play you for whatever we win in this tournament. Straight up. Right
Gee,
now.
Let me blindly agree to that.
Race. I'll play you for your stack of golf.
That would mean that you guys might be in the same cart together. At least you got somebody between the two of you. Right?
Oh, God. Don't bring me in on it. No, I'm just kidding.
Listen right now. I'm bringing my Lariat Misplaced Cowboy as my caddy.
Oh, I play too, buddy.
Oh.
I play too.
Let's play for stacks.
I don't think it's a good idea for Curtis and Kyle to have golf clubs in each other's company.
Good idea. Stu Rudder raised to 42,000. Keranen called. Over to Rystadt now. 8 deuce. He folds.
I'll tell you what, Clyde. We'll play. Winner has to buy the other guy into next year's main event. Kyle.
I mean, golf's one of those games where if you're better than somebody, you just beat them every time. I mean, it's not like I have a sporting chance. If you're better than me, you'll beat me. That's how it works. It's not a gambling game unless you handicap it.
Golf's not a gambling game.
Well, unless you handicap it. If you don't play straight up against somebody who's better than you,
or something?
it's stupid.
I don't get it.
Kyle's actually the only one here making any sense, and he barely gets in a word edgewise.
3 players already in the hand. Small blind Christopher Graves. 6-4, he folds.
I've played for a lot of money on the golf
Yeah,
course
I mean,
before.
we'll take your handicap, my handicap, and make it even. We play. Whoever plays better that day wins money.
Well, that would be me.
You know it's a good gambling game? Candyland.
3 players will see the flop. 1 pocket pair, ace, queen, and some suited connectors. The flop, 4, deuce, jack, 2 clubs. Stu Rudder missed. Keranen still with the best hand with the 5s.
Rudder went to Oxford University. He's a director at a logistical solutions company.
He checks.
Keranen in his familiar pose, which usually leads to his familiar flop bet.
Reaching for some of the green chips worth $25K each. And he'll bet $74,000 to Gabe Paul, who is now the favorite with the flush draw.
Keranen went to Drake. Paul went to DePaul. That's a good matchup.
How can you not enjoy this? I mean, let me see. If I get busted, I get a check for over $30,000.
It's up to 45 now.
Oh, is it 45 now? I don't know. I'm not paying attention. I don't care.
Turn card. Tray of spades.
Curtis, what's your handicap?
Kyle's open-ended.
He might kill his action if he says.
I see some bluffs coming on that.
We're bluffing, baby. I'm putting it out there. You know, we play golf. If you beat me, I'll pay for your ticket. So this
Kyle
next
in
year.
a nice spot here. Took control of the pot on the flop. Now he's picked up a straight draw to go with his pair, and he's got the big stack.
I was talking to you, and you ended up talking to him.
You asked me, you said you were killing my action.
Keranen, 177 into Gabe Paul.
We always talk about the power of position. Here we see the power of the big stack. Paul didn't raise the flop. Now he's faced with a big turn bet.
Does he want to chase more? He does not, and Keranen will take that pot.
Keranen again makes it look easy.
Kyle Keranen over $3.5 million, keeping his eyes on the prize. The working conditions are not ideal, but Kyle Keranen is all business. He's got a top 5 stack now. Back at the Rio for the 45th World Series of Poker main event. At one of the outer tables, poker pro Dan Smith quietly accumulating a big stack. Dan is as tough as they come and has the respect of all the best players in the world. But does he have your respect, Norman? He went to Maryland.
Well, apparently he was too smart for Maryland, left there after 1 year. And since then, he has been wildly successful around the world, particularly at EPT events and in high rollers.
Smith just picked up aces after Andrew Liberace raised with Jack-10 of clubs. Dan makes it 92,000 to go, so back to the under-the-gun raiser.
27-year-old Miami pro with a business degree from Loyola University in New Orleans. He used to work in real estate.
Liberace with $68,000 in live earnings compared to Dan Smith, 2 years his junior, with $8.3 million in live earnings. Liberace makes the call. Heads up now, the flop. Deuce, king, king, 2 clubs.
In 2012, Smith won 3 5K events in 4 days at the EPT in Monte Carlo. He also had 2 7-figure scores in high rollers at Aussie Millions and EPT Barcelona.
Smith has aces up, but he's vulnerable. Liberace with the flush draw. 50,000 from Smith.
Yeah, scary looking flop for Smith, but he puts out a small bet, a feeler bet, like we used to call it at our Elks Lodge game.
Liberace starting the hand with just over 400,000. Smith a big stack here with almost $2.5 million. Liberace makes the call.
Oh, Smith just looked back at his hand and saw 7 deuce off.
Turn card, 9 of diamonds.
Liberace checking the board on the monitor. It's right in front of him on the table.
Liberace adds a gut shot.
Check.
That's a verbalized checklon, as we used to call it at our Elks Lodge game.
Liberace now.
Yeah, Liberace doesn't know what to do. Channeling my entire decade of the 90s.
Well, the pros say when a guy looks at his stack, he's going to bet. Well, look at this. He's going to bet. All in.
Call.
And a call with the aces. Liberace with outs.
Liberace could see the board if you want to right in front of him. There he goes.
Andrew's face indicated he wanted his shove to end things. Dan had other ideas.
Liberace needs a queen for a straight or any club other than an ace.
The river is the 7 of hearts, and that will close out Andrew Liberace's main event for 2014. The payout just over 52 grand now.
That phone should direct him to the payout cage.
Smith scores the knockout and absorbs the last of his victims' chips. So now he closes in on $3 million. His background in another game has helped him to the top of the tournament poker world.
When I was 6 or 7, I started playing chess at the local library. I just really had a knack for it. I eventually started competing in tournaments, first just in my town, then up the state, and then all over the country. And I did that for quite a few years up until I was a teenager. I've beaten a handful of grandmasters, but at a certain point, it just felt like a job almost that I wasn't really enjoying. I saw poker on TV and it looked so easy, and I figured there's a lot more money in it. I think I wouldn't be the poker player I am today if not for chess, and for that I'm super grateful. I really think it was good for my mind, and as far as preparation for playing live tournaments for a living, in poker, most of the time you're not in a hand. In chess, you can't take any moves off, you know? Chess is much less forgiving, so I think it was great preparation for being a future poker player.
I would have stuck with chess. Nobody in chess ever says, that's what I'm talking about. Nobody in chess ever says, that's chess. Nobody in chess ever says, ship it.
Smith on the button with King 9 of spades. I think he's one good argument for Phil Ivey not being the best in the world right now.
Oh, man, that's not fair.
45,000 is the raise from Smith. Tony Roberto with more than $2.3 million on Dan's left elbow here in the small blind.
And you can never get sucked out when it's checkmate. Checkmate is a no-outer.
Folded 2, Jeffrey Chang in the big blind, king 10 off.
37-year-old Washington, D.C. attorney. Maybe he knows Marsha Kuntz. Then again, there are more than 77 million lawyers in the D.C. area.
He makes the call. We'll go heads up against Dan Smith. Smith has no World Series bracelets, and that's such a stark benchmark. A lot of people don't give him enough credit. Here is the flop. 7, 6, 10 rainbow. Top pair for Chang, a gut shot for Smith. Chang checks.
Plus, they dress better in chess. I never saw Boris Spassky in a sweatsuit or a hoodie.
50,000 from Smith in the sweatsuit.
Chang busted Daniel Negreanu on day 3 of this main event. Why don't you check raise here?
Chang started the hand with just over 700,000, makes that call. Turn card. Jack of diamonds. The 10s are still best for Chang. Smith now double gutted. Chang checks again.
Smith originally aimed to get a chess scholarship to the University of Maryland, but says chess just stopped being fun. This looks like fun, though, huh?
He mentioned poker pays a little better. And now, Dan Smith trying to suss out his opponent. This is where he is at his best. He does bet 150,000.
Pressure, pressure, pressure. Smith, like Kyle Keranen, applying big stack pressure. Great tournament players are so tough line. They bet every big hand, they bet every draw, and sometimes they bet with nothing.
And there is a call from Chang. He does have the best hand here. Ooh, Dan looks a little insulted by that call.
Gives him an ushka look.
River card, 5 of spades, so Chang's 10s are best. But he checks again. Now Dan Smith, who firmly believes he is one of the best in the game.
With nothing.
Got nothing but chips here.
All in.
He says all in, and that would put Chang all in.
We've heard Antonio Esfandiari and Phil Locke talk about this on Pro Analysis. When you have just one pair, it's hard to commit your entire stack. Smith seems to sense this about Chang's hand.
And Smith also can afford to be wrong here. But he is right with that bet as Chang folds.
Dan Smith is rolling.
Smith will collect more chips, but a victory's a little sweeter when you win a pot with a worst hand. He is making his moves at the main event, charging up the leaderboard, now sitting with over 3.2 million. $153 players remaining, $10 million on the line for first place. Big main event action in the Amazon room, but there's more than just that. Here's the next installment of the Side Action Championship.
Tonight's event is dealing. Players must deal cards to a 9-handed table. Each card that touches the box is worth 1 point. Each card that misses the box is minus 1 point. Extra points are awarded for speed. Our current leader, Mike Matiso, will start us off.
Mike's the only one of us who has actual dealer experience.
Sorry, as bad as you play poker, you better learn how to deal.
Go right ahead.
What am I doing? What was that about how you had an unfair advantage, Mike? Yeah, what is that? Well, you got 1 point so far. You got 2.
2 points for time.
So you're going to get a total of 2 points. 2 points for time, 0 points on the deal.
Well done, Mike. Wow.
So Mike, what'd you used to do before you played poker?
And now up, the Poker Brat.
Oh my God, Phil's looking good here.
My goodness.
He's gonna make the 15 seconds.
Phil.
And now it's JRB.
What? Are you getting ready? He's going? Okay.
Well, he's drawing.
Wow.
That's a missed deal.
Keep going, keep going. There's no missed deal.
Keep going.
I'm trying to get missed deals credit.
He missed out. He missed out there, Morris. It's a missed deal. After 15 seconds, you're disqualified. You're disqualified. You got to be within 15 seconds.
You're to have the skill of a fire hydrant.
It was a missed deal. 2 cards came off.
You know what? Look, another card exposed.
Wow, I just froze.
Phil Locke needs 12 points to get first place. It's Cherry Bomber time.
I want to tell you guys something. The 4 of us are none of us are ever bad to the dealers, ever.
No, that's
Not
true.
us 4.
It's true, it's true.
No. Quiet here, man. He's doing some kind of meditation bull.
Okay, 3, 2,
1, go.
I don't think he's gonna make the 15 seconds.
Second place.
Oh my God!
Take a solid second.
That was impressive. That was funny.
After 2 events, Helmuth and Manasso tied for first.
That hurts. Stringing them get much better.
I gotta say, you're a natural game show host. Have you ever thought about leaving the poker booth, maybe to host Joker's Wild or something like that?
Unfortunately, I have a face for radio game shows.
Keranen, unfortunately, has been dealt pocket jacks. Margolin already raised with 7-6 of diamonds.
Keranen with the Lon McCarron memorial hand.
It's the only thing that can stop his forward progress. A re-raise to 115. Adam Coates with ace-6 of spades. Adam stuck in the middle of the Kyle Curtis feud the whole time at this featured table. Folds, ace-6. Now back to Margolin.
Margolin keeps raising light, and Keranen keeps coming over the top of him, and Margolin keeps calling. This reminds me of Saved by the Bell. Every episode is the same.
Margolin started the hand with just under 1 million chips. Here's the flop, heads up, 6-deuce-4. The pocket jacks hold up. Margolin now with a pair of 6s. Keranen checks his jacks, and a check back from Margolin. Turn card, queen of clubs. Keranen still best, but checks again. Now Margolin, who has not seen any post-flop aggression from Kyle.
Yeah, so he might figure his 6s are good with Kyle checking the flop and the turn.
112,000 from Margolin. Keranen doesn't want to go anywhere yet.
Well, when we've seen Kyle enter pots, he's had a really good read of the situation.
River card. 8 of diamonds, so Keranen's pocket jacks are best.
Almost every time we look up, Lon, it says 4% or 2% or 0% next to Margolin's name.
Keranen took control of the betting pre-flop and then went check, check. Now he wants to lead out for 185.
I can't figure this out. I mean, Margolin had bet the queen on the turn. Kyle checked the flop in the turn, as you mentioned. Now he leads out on the river when a useless 8 of diamonds hits. Margolin is beflummoxed.
But he does manage to fold third pair, and Keranen will stack the chips again.
Keranen is bewitching. He makes it look easy again.
The better things get for Kyle, the worse things get for Curtis. Hard to claim that Rystadt has been a distraction. Kyle Keranen going about his business, climbing his way to the top of the main event leaderboard. Back in Las Vegas for continuing coverage of the main event. Lon McCarron with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. This year's tournament started with nearly 6,700 players. As day 5 winds down, we're approaching 150 remaining, 4 women left. But the biggest story just might be Mark Newhouse's quest for back-to-back final tables.
Dan Harrington, the last to do that at the main event in 2003 and 4.
Curtis Rystadt may come off as the clown prince here, but off the felt, this father of 3 has a very serious perspective on how he wants his children to view the world.
I'm born in Portland, Oregon. My mother's from Guadalajara, Mexico, and we're living there right now for 1 year. A lot of times people, you grow up in a bubble and you're not exposed to different things. And especially, in the United States, we're very lucky. You hit the lottery if you're born here and do a family that's doing well. There's so many other people that are struggling around the world that you don't want people to, take things for granted. So I think that if my kids get exposed to more of the planet, they'll have a greater appreciation for other people, other situations, and have a better understanding that's just going to help them throughout their life. I think a great experience for our kids, as soon as school's out, say, hey, let's live in Greece for 6 weeks. And the next year say, hey, let's go to Australia for 6 weeks. Let's go different parts of the globe and really get to know the planet and see different things. If you get to live in a different country, it gives you a lot better perspective.
I've got to give Curtis props here for his forward-thinking world perspective.
Come on, you guys. I'm on him. Hey, Cowboy Joe. Give me that last right. We're going to have to whip these guys into shape. Get the chips in there.
I'm waiting. Call it out.
Help the dealer out.
Rystadt does not have an off button.
Tough times here in the main event for the short and even medium stacks. One wrong decision or bad card can make you a main event statistic.
Oh, confirmed.
Codes folds to Rystadt. Pocket tens.
He's been a house painter and a loan officer. He's currently an investor. He might have a future in one-man plays.
I think it's just been using the wrong number. That'll make the difference. See the respect factor instantly.
46,000 now is the raise.
46. There you see. I knew it was going to work.
When he travels the world, I wonder if Curtis properly melds into the different cultures or trash talks locals.
Graves in the small blind.
I'm not ready to mess with you yet.
Suited ace in the muck. Cowboy Joe now.
Irish. Oh, oops.
Queen 10 of clubs.
I forgot about New York City. He's still in the hand.
Come on, Lynn.
New York, I'm going to have to call you.
Yeah. All right.
La Caruba at risk against the pocket tens of Rystadt.
Yeah, Curtis has been showing down hands like Queen 4 and Jack 5, so the Cowboy Dennis thought Queen 10 might be good.
Cowboy Joe had to buy a new hat this morning when he locked his old one with the keys in the car. Flop King Ace 9, a Broadway draw for Cowboy Joe, but the tens are still good for Curtis. Turn card. 8 of clubs, flush draw for La Caruba.
You just got to pick up a lot of outs, Joe.
Jack, Queen, club.
Joseph picks up a few outs.
I'm not going to look.
Joe, go with the rally hat. You know, the hat backwards. Don't bury your face.
River cards the 9 of diamonds. La Caruba comes up short.
Joe, sorry. Hey, good luck on raising money for the. Good luck for raising the money on that.
Thanks a lot.
It was a pleasure playing with you.
Second main event cash for La Caruba, and he's donating 10% of his winnings to a children's charity.
This cash worth over $52,000 for Cowboy Joe.
I'm not always raising with Queen 4, guys. You know, sometimes I'm going to wake up and have something.
The Queen 4 hand Curtis is referring to happened earlier on day 5. He took great pleasure in cracking Kyle Keranen's aces.
Call. Oh, that's a shame. That's a full boat. Thanks for playing. Any pot. Blind, I'm going to call.
You're the man.
Because I'm going to stack you.
You're the man.
Gone. Get in pots with me, please. I want the full value.
Yeah, you got it there, man. Got that one bet. That's full value.
Well, you can't put them. I can't get them from you if you don't put them in.
I've been at this table for what, an hour and a half now, and you've said repeated the Queen 4 like 14 times.
You weren't here when I had it, were you?
It was right when I got it.
Hey, Kyle doesn't have to do the dirty work anymore. Someone else is calling him that.
You got a partner here.
You don't know what you're getting yourself into, sir.
That was a good comment, Kyle. I like it. There you go, Kyle. See,
we're getting along famously.
Yeah, I just want to have fun, man.
Stuart called it.
I even laugh at Kyle's comments. See.
I've got a few comments here and there.
I thought they were Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr. Instead, they're turning into Franklin and Bash.
This detente, glass nose to truce, it can't be.
Like I say, I'd rather be lucky than good.
Rystadt, King 10
Since
suited.
it worked so well last time. Did I make it 46, I think? Gabe, that extra 1,000's the difference in the tournament right now.
I was going to call for 45. Now I'm probably going to fold.
Chris. I knew it was. I was just missing the right number. It wasn't the fact that you know.
It was.
We lost so much.
Exactly.
So strategy 2.3 is his number.
Oh, makes no difference to me. Cool.
He's not afraid of an extra 1,000.
Now, if I could remember how he said the Americans say Stuart, I'd say it to you the right way now. Stuart. Stuart.
Ace high still best for Rudder. He checks.
I'm gonna bet. Gonna bet 42,000.
42,000 is the bet.
That's 42,000.
Well, unfortunately, that's the end of the foot.
Curtis will take it.
Still got an extra 1,000.
Where's the cashier's window?
Back-to-back pots for Curtis Rystadt, and the tide seems to be turning with his nemesis Kyle Keranen.
All the way out there, guys. Help her out. Help her out.
The preeminent poker festival winding down in Las Vegas. This year there were 65 events, the last one the main event. At an outer table, we're going to check in with Mark Newhouse, 9th place last year, down to the final 16 tables this year with a decent-sized stack. Mark on the left flopped an open-ender against Hugh Wynn on the right, who leads with 9 high. Newhouse bets 175.
That's a decent-sized pot for 6 tray against 9-8, and neither has a hand yet. That flop bet should take it down.
Wynn, 37 years old, lives in Falls Church, Virginia. His family owns a jewelry store, and he will come along with the best hand of 9 high.
By the way, Newhouse and Wynn, great names for a main event champion.
Oh, you're right about that. So that pairs Newhouse, so his 6s now are the best hand, and he checks this time.
You may recall Wynn had 9-8 and bet his straight draw against Marsha Kuntz's quad 10s.
Bad timing. And speaking of bad timing, Wynn bets 200,000 here now with the worst hand.
He takes a stab at it now. They're playing poker, Lon, not chess.
Newhouse puts Wynn all in. Mark pretty confident that Wynn is weak.
The check raise from Newhouse, very nice. Every time I try that move on the turn with Mark's cards, I run into 2 pair or a set. This should work, though. No way Wynn can call here. He's got no hand.
Yeah, he painted himself into a corner. He tried to take the pot, but with 9 high and a gut shot, he now has to excuse himself from the proceedings.
Newhouse can be spewy, but man, he's got some great instincts.
So Hugh Wynn did his best to win that pot, and his chip stack will take a step backwards while Newhouse crosses into 2 million chip territory.
Can he really get there again? November 9 last year? This year?
Another high finisher from a previous main event still in, Brian Devonshire.
One of my favorites. He makes any poker game more enjoyable.
Spain's Andoni Larabe has been in the top 10 for most of day 5.
22-year-old poker pro, currently living in London.
All right, we go from the outer tables back to the featured table. There you see the chip counts for the players at the featured table. Keranen and Rystadt, still the top stacks there. Rystadt with King 10 offsuit in middle position. Does everything with a sly grin on his face. 42,000.
Extra 2.
Extra
2 for me.
To Margolin.
That's an extra 2 for me.
Big blind.
Come on.
Ace 5.
So it's 42.
The 2. Timur, the 2 is what makes the difference.
Yeah, but you did it bigger before, actually.
Yeah, but I didn't put any yellow ones in, which is the key.
No, you did. Nah, I'm gonna call. I think it's smaller. It's not bigger.
You think what?
It's smaller than what it was before, not bigger.
Oh, so you're saying it's the size, not the... I thought it was the yellow chips. I'm going to have to remember what it was. 46.
No, you're saying you're adding, but you're
right.
actually
I took 4,000. This is 4,000 cheaper.
There are a lot of poker
just cost
conversations
myself
I'd rather forget.
Timur is right. It was 46 before. 7 King Jack. Margolin misses Rystadt now with a pair of kings. Checked over to Rystadt.
Hold on. I want to make sure this is right. 46.
Okay.
Is that better?
Now you're back to the original. So.
All right. Well, I mean, obviously the 42 didn't work, so we're going with 46.
42 or 46 should work. Margolin doesn't have much of a hand to call.
But Margolin has chips in hand, and there's a call.
Well, Margolin doesn't like moving on to the next hand. He likes to live in the moment.
All right, turn card is an ace. Top pair for Margolin, but it also brings a 3rd club to the board. Margolin checked it. Curtis, now with a Broadway draw, checks back. 9 of spades on the river, pair of aces for Margolin is best.
If I knew what Margolin were going to do here, I'd be worried for myself.
Curtis's mum.
Don't jinx it.
You're going for a lot of chips. I like it.
98. That's 2 times 46.
In your world, I'm sure it is.
All right, a little more.
Curtis has played this well so far. Bet one ahead on the flop, checked one behind on the turn. Let's see if he pays off Margolin.
Timo, I actually think you wanted me to bet the turn.
Curtis finds a fold.
I didn't even see what it was. Okay.
I don't like Margolin's November 9 prospects, but I've been wrong before.
Margolin now over 1 million chips thanks to top pair.
Hi, Sam.
Thank you.
That was not a very good turn.
Yeah, I imagine. With the king, you don't like that turn.
Yeah, I don't like that turn in many ways. Flush, ace.
Straight got there, everything got there.
Yeah, everything got there. I don't know what you had, but I think you had me beat.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high rollerball 7 champion.
Oh, yeah.
Wheels are coming off. That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that fight?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
All right, we get our first look this year at Lee Force, comfortably in second place with nearly $5 million. Lee finished 11th back in 06, the year David Einhorn finished 18th. Griffin Benger also over the 4 million chip mark. Griffin, a former star in the gamer world. But let's catch up with Maria Ho now. Maria with Jack 10 of clubs. She has nearly 1.3 million chips to work with.
She was 38th at the main event in 2007, the year that she was last woman standing.
From early position, a raise to 53,000 from Maria. 282 women entered the main event, a total field of almost 6,700. Folded around to Jack Schonbacher in the small blind with pocket queens.
I didn't think that Jack Schonbacher was a main event champion worthy name, but I'm rooting for him now. 31-year-old Pittsburgh pro, and he went to LaRoche College in Pittsburgh. I love Pittsburgh.
He started the hand with about 800,000. He re-raises to 137,000. Folded now back to Maria Ho with Jack 10 of clubs.
Her original game was Limit Hold'em. She started playing a lot just before the moneymaker poker boom, and back then it was mostly Limit Hold'em.
Maria makes the call. Maria, a UC San Diego graduate, majored in communications, minored in law. The flop, 9 king, 10 no clubs, both with a gut shot. Pair of queens still good for Schonbacher.
Both might be worried about that flop hitting the other's hand.
Check to Maria, who picked up middle pair. She checks. Turn card now. 4 of clubs, no change. Schonbacher checks.
When Maria was in college, she played a lot at the Indian casinos in Southern California.
And now, after Schonbacher had checked to her twice, Maria reaching for chips, 160,000.
I believe Maria thinks she's best right now. I don't know what Schonbacher is thinking. I love Pittsburgh, but I've never been able to figure out anybody from that town.
Schonbacher with about $1,300,000 in live tournament earnings. And he makes that call. River card now. Ace of diamonds.
Since the flop, Schonbacher hasn't liked it much.
Quick check from him.
By the way, since when do I know what a woman is thinking? I take back whatever I said about Maria a moment ago.
Wow. And now Maria Ho, who has Schonbacher easily covered. That's 350,000. That's about 70% of what Schonbacher has left.
Well, for Schonbacher, it's the old, do I want to make a last stand with one pair dilemma? The answer is usually no.
2 overcards to Schonbacher's pocket queens out there. And he does fold. Maria Ho stares him down and steals the pot.
She plays limit and no limit hold'em very well.
Maria Ho now over 1.6 million, well-timed aggression, even though she maybe thought she had the best hand. All right, time now for the DraftKings.com King of the Night. That honor going to Kyle Keranen. Kyle managed to keep his composure despite numerous verbal attacks from his tablemate, Curtis Rystadt.
I think that's part of his strategy, is to try and get underneath my skin and try and get me to make bad choices, which, I mean, I can't blame him. It's poker. Luckily, it didn't work out.
Are you going to go golfing with him?
I mean, honestly, I sort of started to like the guy after a while, so maybe we'll see. I could see you playing around a golf with him.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's every poker player's dream to make a deep run in the main event.
We made the money yesterday and just been kind of cruising since.
It's good to be in the money now and kind of be just comfortable and just trying to move up spots and get to the final table.
I'm just trying to play my game. It's gotten me this far.
Anyone can win, but the better you play, the less luck you're going to need.
To go this many days in a row and to be focused is really difficult.
The further you get into the event, the deeper you go, the more ingrained you become into it. And now the WSOP becomes part of you.
And this is work. This is what we do. You know what I'm saying?
Welcome back to Las Vegas for the 2014 World Series of Poker Main Event. 139 players with designs on that $10 million first place prize. Hi everyone, Lon McCarran with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. 44-year-old Curtis Rystadt has made himself the center of attention.
And he's made himself a frenemy for life and fellow player Keranen. They've become the Sylvester and Tweety Bird of poker.
Maria Ho knows how to run deep in the main event.
Just like her best friend for life, Tiffany Michelle. Another amazing race for Maria here at the main event.
As Day 5 continues, the feature table is constantly changing so we can bring you the biggest stacks and biggest personalities. Tony Roberto and Griffin Benger fit that bill.
Look, it's the Red Sox versus the Blue Jays, and I think they had a brawl earlier this year.
The leaderboard has names we've followed since the beginning. Bruno Politano on top with nearly 6 million chips, and you see Benger and Roberto up there as well.
And how about Mark Newhouse in 8th in probably seeking back-to-back main event final tables?
I'll tell you what, I will lay you 4-1 that we poll every single person we play basketball with. And if the majority say that you're better than me, 4-1.
You haven't seen me play lately.
On up to 10 grand, so I'll lay 40
wow,
to your 10.
That's strong.
Wow. You got it, if you want it.
Why don't you guys just play, though? That's what I said, asking them.
Well, yeah,
you guys usually play 1-on-1.
Yeah, but what you don't realize is you could say, like, let's have Muggsy Bogues play Dikembe Mutombo and see who's better, and then...
How is that your analogy?
No, I'm just
You guys
saying.
are, like, literally exact same height right now. You on a stool? What is this?
If you walk into the Amazon room looking for people who value money the way you and I do, Norman, well, you have come to the wrong place. Risking 40 grand on the opinions of others? No big deal for the high rollers, but isn't that just a little nuts?
Well, the high rollers are a little nuts. I think the applicable Yiddish word here is mashugana. When it comes to money, many poker pros are a little mashugana. Sure, Kyle Keranen and Maria Ho don't look mashugana, but there's a lot of mashugana rattling around their bones. Great poker players distance themselves from the dollars and say money's just the way they keep score. That sounds bashugana to me. Then again, am I a great poker player? Don't answer that.
Well, the good news is we have great poker players at our featured table. Griffin Benger's as tough as they come.
This guy played video games for a living before poker. That is the good life.
To Benger's right is Tony Roberto with the table's second biggest stack.
His bio says he's from Boston. I don't buy it. Nothing about this kid says Boston to me.
Dan Smith also at this table. This is without question the most stacked table remaining. With the players we have and the chips, 5 players over 2 million. Roberto with ace queen off.
He used to shoot pool, transitioned to poker. That's like going from medicine to law.
He raises to 55,000. Now Benger with Jack 10, and the small blind will come along.
Benger went from Nintendo to no limit. That's also like going from medicine to law.
So these two will square off. Jack 10 against ace queen. Here is the flop. 8-9-4, 2 clubs. Benger is open-ended.
We always hear how big stacks want to stay out of the way of other big stacks. These guys didn't get the memo.
Benger will try to take control. Bet 78,000 with his draw.
Roberto won the WPT Jacksonville main event in 2011 for $325,000.
He does have the best hand with ace queen and makes the call. Turn card now is the king of clubs. Roberto still best with ace queen, plus he has the better flush draw. Benger reaching for chips.
And I think Benger believes he is still playing duck hunt.
He's very good at that. And he keeps the pressure on, 192,000.
475.
And a raise from Roberto, 475 now.
Roberto's playing this like it's Counter-Strike. Lon, there is a lot of top-level stuff going on in this hand. My bar is low. This is too high for me.
So now Benger with the biggest stack at this table.
Well, like I always say, the Blue Jays never give up.
The greens are worth $25K each. A stack is worth $500,000. And he is moving those greens around. A re-raise from Benger to $900,000.
Wow. I love that play. It's a great read. Benger's representing the flush, or he senses Roberto with a pretty weak hand.
Roberto just with the queen of clubs in his hand as both players on that flush draw. And he makes the call.
We saw a bet with nothing, a raise with nothing, a re-raise with nothing, and now a call with nothing. They both have a draw to something, but there's only one more card coming, right?
This is a different game than you and I play. Over $2 million in the pot. 4 of hearts pairs the board. No straights or flushes come to be. Benger first to act.
Oh, and Benger just swallowed. That's not a good sign.
And he checks. That's a good sign for Roberto. And he checks back. And the ace-queen of Roberto is going to take this pot.
It's like he called 4-ball in the corner pocket, missed it, and still takes the match.
Wow. You saw Benger looking disgusted that he couldn't pull the trigger on the river.
Lon, I think we should stop the main event now, eliminate the other 137 players, and let these two guys play heads up.
No kidding. That was fun to watch.
When people watch Sign TV, they're like, this is how you play the game.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that was quite a blow to Benger's stack, but in his previous line of work, he could have just hit the restart button.
The first video games I really got into as a kid growing up, Nintendo, Mario, Duck Hunt, what have you. And then eventually I got into first-person shooters. My buddy told me about these things that just started happening called internet cafes, and how everyone would come into a room and there was like 5-on-5 in these teams and you'd play against each other in the same room, and I was like, wow, that sounds amazing. From the age of 15 until I was like 20, 21, I just made my living playing video games, and I was traveling all over the world. With Counter-Strike, I hit the top, and I knew I couldn't get any better. I was one of the best snipers in the world.
He bombs it and takes it down.
I started losing interest in Counter-Strike a bit because I recognized that there was always some like 16-year-old kid like me back then that was going to be coming up and playing all night, when me, it was like a job. The natural transition, just I'm such a competitive guy, became poker. When I reached #1 in the world in online tournament poker rankings, you know, my dad was just emailing all his friends like, how many people do you know that have been the best in the world at 2 things in their life? Yeah, it's good television. Come on.
Benger was ranked at #1 in the world online in 2011, and he won the EPT Berlin High Roller event in 2013 on his 28th birthday.
All right, let's catch up with Maria Ho, Poker Pro, TV poker commentator with Queens. She called the open shove of Vinny Maglio, 25-year-old Massachusetts Poker Pro. He's short-stacked, sitting with ace-10 off.
Maria, not much interested in being the last woman standing, says she just wants to be known as a great overall player.
The flop King Jack 8, Maglio with a Broadway draw, but Maria holds 2 of his outs.
Maria with 8 cashes at this World Series, including PLO, Omaha 8, and Stud 8. She plays them all.
Turn card pairs the board, so a queen is no longer an out for Maglio.
Yeah, Maglio now needs an ace and an ace only, or he is wamboozled.
The river card, and the wamboozling begins. Maglio out of the main event. Maria knocks him out as she continues to chip up here on day 5.
She's ruthless, Lon. Ruthless!
Maglio's best ever main event showing in 5 tries, and it's worth over $52,000 cash.
Absolutely ruthless.
There is still a long way to go to reach that elusive final table, but Maria Ho is moving in the right direction. Welcome back to the Rio. Off in the distance, the new High Roller, the world's tallest observation wheel. At an outer table now, the lineup that had been our feature table, including one of the chip leaders, Kyle Keranen, and his personal antagonist, Curtis Rystadt.
That looks like Curtis, but it doesn't sound like Curtis. He never stops talking.
They are 2 of the top 3 stacks here, and that man, Zaichenko, Andrei Zaichenko, is the number 2 stack. He raises King Trey of clubs, Russian pro in his 7th main event. Action on. Kyle Keranen with pocket sixes.
Keranen and Rystadt started to warm up to each other a little earlier on day 5, but I'd have to take the under on that relationship.
Kyle finished 38th in the 2012 main event, and he's going to re-raise it to 126,000. Folded to Rystadt. Jack 10.
Kyle and Curtis have a tentative golf date set. I doubt they'll make it to the 19th hole.
And as we have seen, when Kyle's in a hand, Curtis often likes to be in the hand as well. And he re-raises to 325.
Who couldn't see that coming?
And on the button with ace-king of diamonds, a top-tier hand, Casey Stewart.
It's been 4-bet already, and you have ace-king suited with 14 big blinds. What do you do?
The Las Vegas resident shoves. Wow. Big blind folds. Zychenko and Kyle get rid of it. So now back to Rystadt.
Yeah. How much more is it?
Oh, baby.
Country.
You're in trouble. I think I'm going to double you up.
Wow, I can't believe I almost folded this thing. You should have folded. I knew they were folding. I was just making a move on these clowns. How much more is it?
It's 14,000 more to Curtis. He'd have to call here with 7 deuce off. He's getting 65 to 1 on his money.
Rystadt was so focused on Keranen, and he got blindsided by Stewart. And there's the call, Stewart at risk.
All in and call on. I'm not going to do that with ace king.
I said, I hope you have an ace or a king in your hand. No, he needs 5,000.
I'm hoping a lot of the aces and kings are gone.
Rystadt might have done Stewart a favor here. If Curtis folds instead of 4-bets, Keranen and his pocket sixes might have called the ace-king.
I can't believe you think that was good. I mean, it was, but I can't believe you thought. I mean, he raises, I just raised a chip leader.
There wasn't much thinking. It was just a couple pretty cards.
Maybe he thought it was something personal.
Yeah? It's okay. That's all right. This is what poker's about.
One of my aces are dead.
I'm sure.
Can you want to confirm if one of my aces are dead? Confirm or deny?
All right. Throw a couple of jacks on the table. Or put him ace, king, queen on there.
All right, here's the flop. And there is an ace for Stewart.
Pretty good flop.
That's your opinion.
Well, Stewart would have outflopped Keranen's pocket sixes, so Curtis actually did Kyle a favor.
And a queen on the turn. Now a Broadway draw for Curtis.
Give him 2 pair right here.
Only a king sends Stewart home.
It's a tray on the river. Stewart nearly triples up while Rystadt shoots himself in the foot.
339. Wake up with that. My play. He took my play away. It was beautiful. They were both mucking.
No, you don't really know that.
Oh yeah, we did. What moves? I made it 325 for 30,000 more than I got to call him. They were calling me. They were going to call him.
So Rystadt loses a fifth of his stack. Stewart up to nearly 1 million chips now. We check in again with Maria Ho, whose new poker commentary job, Norman, has suddenly made us targets.
I can't give Lon and Norman any advice because, to be honest, they're like that gold standard of commentating and hosting a poker show. They're such a good combination of like being funny and, you know, with a little bit of strategy involved as well. And I just think that that's a really great combination because you have to be able to make a poker show entertaining for people because not everybody wants this like ridiculously high level poker. But Lon and Norman, I'm after their job for sure. They better watch out.
She can't do play-by-play, Lon. You're safe. I'm the one who should be shaking.
She was born in Taiwan, moved to the U.S., graduated UC San Diego, competed on American Idol and The Amazing Race, has 30 World Series cashes, and now doing poker commentary.
Her pal Tiffany Michelle wrote an article for Bluff, 15 things you probably don't know about Maria. One of them, she always keeps a jar of dill pickles in her fridge.
With kings, Maria trying to knock out Michael Palo, who shoved with ace-6 for almost 600 grand. And the flop, another king for Maria.
Yeah, and as a club cover. And as a club cover.
That's pretty definitive.
Palo all but out of here.
Turn card is an ace. Palo is looking for runner straight, comes up short, and is out of the main event.
Nice play, man.
Yeah.
She's ruthless, Lon, absolutely ruthless. If I collapsed in the booth on the flop, she would step over my body and sit next to you before the river hit.
For Palo, his 6th World Series cash this year, he will collect over $52,000. And Norman, I think Maria's success is good for both of us. The deeper she runs, maybe the less interest she'll have in our jobs. Go Maria! The 45th edition of the World Series of Poker main event here at the Rio since '05. Divorce attorney Marsha Kuntz playing in her first main event. She has a below-average stack.
And even though it is the main event, she still does work in the morning. The double billing never stops.
Poker pro Eddie Sabat moving toward 1,000,000 chips.
And I have promised him if he makes day 6, I will buy him a better t-shirt to wear.
And a look at Mark Newhouse, 9th place at last year's main event, over 5.3 million chips this year. Quite a story.
If he makes back-to-back main event final tables, I will zip line across the Grand Canyon with Mike Matiso on my back.
Current payout over 52 grand. We have to get to under 100 before the next pay bump. Brian Roberts, a Houston poker pro with Queen 10 offsuit. It's going to raise it up to 60,000. Maria Ho folds.
By the way, I think Maria is personable, but she doesn't understand the game as well as me. Plus, I've got the voice line.
You've got the job, Norman. You've got the job. Action on Martin Jacobson. Ace 10 off.
When he was in the Swedish military in 2007, he worked as a chef on a warship. I didn't even know Sweden was at war.
Jacobson, poker pro, makes the call. Heads up against Roberts. Jack, ace, 7. Top pair for Jacobson. A Broadway draw for Roberts. Jacobson checked. Roberts continues with 95,000. Jacobson now living in London, second only to Chris Bjorn in poker earnings for a Swede, 4.8 million. And there's a call.
Yeah, I'd call secret agent man over there with my top pair good kicker.
Turn card now. 5 of spades, no help to Roberts. Jacobson checks again.
Johnny Moss used to say, what good is money if you can't gamble with it? Brian Roberts is playing in the spirit of the 3-time main event champion.
With a drawing hand, he is going to bet 305,000.
Yeah, if I'm Jacobson, I'd call secret agent man again here with my top pair good kicker. But you know, I'm playing with his chips and I can see the hand, so it's easy for me to say.
And there is a call.
Okay. So what's the tough guy in the red jumpsuit gonna do when he misses on the river? Huh?
All right, almost 1,000,000 chips in the middle. The river card. Another 7. Martin Jacobson's hand is best. He checks the 3rd time.
And see, secret agent man missed on the river. A diamond didn't even come, so he could pretend he has a flush. He has nowhere to go, Lon, nowhere to hide.
All in?
Oh. I didn't expect that, a bluff shove.
And a gulp of concern from the Swede.
And I will say this, channeling my inner Antonio Esfandiari right now, when a guy bets 3 times and you have a marginal hand, it is hard to call the river.
Jacobson folds as though his cards were suddenly diseased, and Roberts will take it.
Brian Roberts outplayed me in that hand.
That is not hard to do.
And he outplayed Martin Jacobson in that hand.
So Martin down to 2.1 million now, still with 90 big blinds, while Roberts increases his stack by more than 40%. So a gutsy all-in from Roberts pays off. When we asked Brian about cashing at the main event, he was very candid with us.
You know, I've seen it all. I've played some pretty high-stakes games. It's just cashing in the main event is just not a big deal. I mean, I was cracking jokes that I'd rather stone bubble because, you know, like, it's just more fun than min cashing. Everybody min cashes.
Okay, let's go remove Brian's chips from the table and retroactively make him the bubble boy.
Roberts under the gun now with pocket jacks. I wish him well. He raised it up to 60,000. Greg Himmelbrand with pocket 6s, New York poker pro.
You know, when you have the attitude that Brian Roberts has, it does allow you to be super aggressive and put a lot of pressure on your opponents.
This is Himmelbrand's first World Series cash, and he makes the call, folded around to Robert Park with pocket 4s. Park from Atlanta. Looks like he wants to play from the button. And he makes the call. And now Adam Lamphere with pocket 10s. This is like one of those party hands you deal, Norman, with a fixed deck.
4 pocket pairs out there. Maria Ho would be lost in this hand, Lon.
Lamphere, poker pro from Michigan, 26 years old, and he makes the call. Big blind jack, Schonbacher with pocket tens also. Wow.
Lon, how long are we been doing this? Have we ever seen 5 pocket pairs with a shared pocket pair?
Oh my goodness.
I guarantee you Maria Ho would have no idea what to say right now.
So Schonbacher
All in.
with a lot of action in front of him, shoves.
He pushes with 31 big blinds left.
Plenty of food for thought for the rest of the table. Action on Roberts with the best hand, the jacks. And he makes the call.
Himmelbrand, see ya.
He's out. Park folds. Lamphere now with the other pair of tens.
I think it's going to be see ya for Lamphere.
He does fold.
Sure, I see he took a red ace out.
Schonbacher at risk. The 3% represents his chance with Lamphere's pocket tens removed from the outs.
Yeah, 4s at 6s.
I almost flatted.
I riveted that.
Seed order, that's first and second.
Yeah, I can see either way.
They're just gonna fade you having a hand.
Roberts trying to score the knockout. Here is the flop. 5, king, 9, 2 clubs. Schonbacher can no longer win with a flush.
It's sort of amazing. Lamphere didn't tell Schonbacher he also had pocket tens. I guess he's being polite. Doesn't want Schonbacher to know he should have a cigarette and blindfold right now.
Ace of spades kills Schonbacher straight, so Roberts jacks
Good luck,
will
everyone.
hold up and eliminate Jack Schonbacher from the main event.
It wasn't a main event champion-worthy name, Lon, but in the end, I was rooting for Jack Schonbacher.
Brian Roberts increases his stack by 70% with that knockout. Jack Schonbacher out. He'll win $52,141. He had a promising stack on day 4, but is gone late on day 5. 2 more players eliminated. We're down to 127 remaining. Bruno Politano still leading.
Oh, it's the World Series song.
In the dark. That's how it goes, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly like that.
I miss Marcel Lusk.
And I'm gonna raise back. Oh, right.
I'm gonna get aces. Oh, and then move all in.
And we played some
please,
pots.
someone have ace king.
If those guys are on America's Got Talent, I don't think the talent will be singing.
And even $10 million is the companion prize to go along with that bracelet for the next world champion. Benger, Jack 9 offsuit. He's a poker pro, not part of a boy band.
This is Benger's second main event cash in 3 years.
He won an EPT high roller event on his 28th birthday last year. He raises to $52,000.
Benger and Waxman. It actually has a Simon Garfunkel ring to it.
All right, and the small blind Waxman with ace king.
Waxman won his bracelet in 2013, beating Eric Baldwin in a 7-hour heads-up in a no-limit hold'em event.
Waxman with ace king just calls.
And just like you don't always have to stop at In-N-Out Burger when you pass one, you don't always have to raise with ace king.
Good point. And the big blind, Jeff Loiacono, queen 9. And he will get out of the way.
Yeah, it can be sneaky tricky to just call with ace-king. Plus, Waxman is out of position against a big stack and a tough player.
All right, heads up. Here is the flop. 8 trade deuce. That misses both. Ace-king is best for Waxman, and he checks. Benger, the original raiser, checks back.
They like to sing with each other, but they don't like to dance with each other.
Queen of spades on the turn. Waxman with the ace-high still best. Benger picked up a gut shot. Another check from Matt Waxman. And that will bring Benger's betting arm into action.
Well, Stats Inc. informs us this will be the 17th consecutive bet Benger has made while behind in a hand.
68,000 to Waxman.
I kid, Griffin. He's a terrific player.
The bet from Benger, a little less than half the pot. Waxman will come along.
Waxman feels ace-king might be good here, and even if it's not, he's got 2 overs to the board.
The river card. 7 of spades. Benger misses. Best hand is ace-king, and Waxman checks it, and Benger checks back. Matt Waxman will take the pot.
Obviously, Benger had to fire one more time to have a shot at that pot.
So with a pot of almost 300,000 that Waxman will drag without a pair, he now sits with over 2.9 million chips. Quite a high-level play there from Matt Waxman. If you want to think on that same level as Matt or his friends, he's got a place for that.
Ever since I started playing poker professionally, I've had a lot of people ask me for coaching lessons. So I came up with an idea to have what's like an Airbnb, but for poker. So you can type in your location, and then all of a sudden you're on a map of the world, and you can just see all these poker professionals that are listed to give coaching. Anyone's welcome to do it. You're able to create your own profile, put a picture on there, and basically just talk about what you can do to help other people improve their game. We're still at the pretty early stages. We haven't really put much money into marketing or anything like that. Most of the people that signed up are already friends of mine that I have who would like to coach. And it's just a great source for them to find some customers, whereas otherwise they wouldn't be able to.
That's a great idea, but I'd rather be able to type in my location and get a map of the nearest Ben & Jerry's.
He's a graduate of Florida Atlantic University with a bracelet, and are you going to take it easy on him?
Take it easy on him? He was born in Princeton, New Jersey. Princeton, and ends up going to Florida Atlantic? What's that, Florida Atlantic University? That's pretty much a Jiffy Lube with a library.
Waxman with pocket nines. Benger's already raised it up.
Join the party. You're going to get some airtime.
He had a big bluff before you got here.
You did?
Oh, huge.
Who was it on?
This gentleman.
I was hoping you said Dan.
And it'll be Waxman and Benger again.
Dan's too good to get bluffed.
Here's the flop. King 5-8. Waxman's pocket nines are still best. Benger caught bottom pair. Waxman checks.
Well, Benger's 18th consecutive bet while behind in progress.
57,000.
You know you're making the big hand face, right?
Oh, he stopped making the big hand face.
Maybe not.
Is this the big hand speech?
I don't know. I thought you had a strong hand. I'm gonna lay down a good one.
Yes, he does.
It's only ace jack. Live to fight another day.
That's what you had, ace jack?
No, that's what you have.
No, I had a big hand.
Good fold.
Yeah?
I mean, I won the pot either way.
But do you mean it?
I don't know.
Better wait for TV.
So a little rivalry developing between Benger and Waxman. All tied at one apiece.
Big lay down, pal.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high rollerball 7 champion. Oh yeah! Wheels are coming off. That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that fight?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
Welcome back to the 2014 World Series of Poker Main Event.
Griff. Big lay down.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Matt Waxman still advertising his big lay down to Benger recently.
You can just call and see what progresses. You don't need to like make big laydowns and stuff.
I'm starting to think I had you, but sorry.
How come it's always the guy who folds that always says, I had you?
Yeah.
I got you, but
I know. What a cliche this guy is.
No, I wasn't thinking it until the way he's acting afterwards. You know?
Oh.
But in the moment, I said, you know, he made the post. He seems like he might have a good hand.
Okay. All right. It's Matt Waxman.
I still think Benger and Tony Roberto should play heads up for the title right now.
Folded to the small blind, Tom Medina from Jackson, Michigan. Turned 25 just a couple of days prior to the main event. King deuce suited.
In a Detroit Tigers shirt, so we have the 3 Major League Baseball fans left in the main event at this table.
Dan Smith now.
Give around 800?
Nah, like 680 over this.
Smith's got a lot more than 680 in his stack.
With 8 deuce, Dan Smith. Originally from New Jersey, now splits his time between Las Vegas and Toronto, one of the game's top players. He raises it up to 82,000.
There are a few unwritten rules in poker. One of them is never limp in the small blind against Dan Smith.
He does not have over $8 million in live earnings by playing many limped pots, and Smith will take that. He now sits with over $2.8 million.
Sometimes I think Dan Smith looks like Rick Moranis, and sometimes I think he looks smarter than the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Just 124 players remaining. So many big stories emerging. None bigger, though, than Mark Newhouse taking aim at a second straight main event final table.
Steve G. and probably had a shot at that last year. He was 9th in 2012, then finished 24th in 2013.
There's one player at this table who hasn't gotten caught up in the main event hype. That's Tony Roberto. His take was quite different from what we're used to hearing.
It's not a big deal. You want to know why? It's just another tournament. That's all it is. Okay? There's no glory. It's not like, yeah, it's the main event. I mean, it adds a little more prestige, but I mean, it's still just another day in the office. Like, oh, how do you feel? You just won this, this, and this. I feel great. Just another tournament. That's what I do. Like, you know?
Let me get this straight. Brian Roberts would rather bubble the main event than min cash, and Tony Roberto says there's no glory in winning the world title. Okay.
Medina opened for $52,000 with pocket sixes. Roberto called with Jack-10 of clubs.
So if he wins this thing, Roberto, as our new poker ambassador, will travel the world and tell people it was just another day at the office.
The blinds fold, we're heads up.
By the way, poker players couldn't work in the office because, well, in most offices you can't wear baseball caps and hoodies, and you've got to be there by like 9 a.m.
3 overcards to Medina's pocket sixes in there. He checks. Roberto now ahead with a pair of 10s. He checks. Turn card, another 10, and the sixes of Medina coming up way short to the trips for Roberto.
Yeah, but Medina now thinking his 2 pair are best.
And with that in mind, despite how scary that board might look to some, Medina bet $76,000.
Roberto now with a monster in the catbird seat. That is one good seat.
Boston Tony, as he is known, though he's in Miami now, but that's better than Miami John, who never lived in Miami. A call from Roberto. 5 of hearts on the river. Close, but no 6. Medina in trouble.
Hey, remember that hand when you made the big hand fish?
Yeah, oh my God. Dan's gonna kill you, dude.
Medina checks.
Dan's a curmudgeon.
Yeah, you're a curmudgeoner.
A curmudgeoner?
Curmudgeoner.
Is that the one that irritates the curmudgeon?
All in.
Yeah, duh.
Roberto shoves. That would put Medina all in.
And Medina with 19 big blinds left if he folds, and of course he should fold. He can't beat much, though he might think Roberto is just trying to big stack bullying him off his hand.
Roberto looks like a big stack bully, actually.
And Medina doesn't want to give it up.
He makes the call. Medina is gone from the main event. Roberto got his whole stack there.
Wow. For 310.
Tom Medina added 124th. His first main event cash will bring over 52 grand his way.
Just another day at the office for Tony Roberto.
So Tony adds Tom Medina's stack to his own large chip stack here at this extremely tough table. Roberto is in control as he cruises towards the chip lead.
I mean, it's still just another day in the office.
Time now for more of the Side Action Championship.
Tonight's event is chip riffling. Players must successfully riffle even stacks of chips. Players choose how many chips they want to riffle. The person who successfully riffles the most number of chips wins. Phil Locke's first attempt, 28 chips.
I'm betting 500. He does not do this. I'll lay 2 to 1.
All right, you got it.
All right.
No, we better not do that.
He backed up.
No, I don't mind. How about we bet dinners?
That's an easy call.
That was the easiest 500.
Okay, I'm going to reduce my number.
I'm going to start off with 6.
You know, you have to be used to handling chips to be able to riffle the chips.
Oh, no, it's he missed. He missed. Look at that, he missed right there.
No good.
No
You
good.
can put it at any angle you want. No good.
I missed the little top chip.
It'll be Phil Hellmuth's first attempt. He's going to play small ball, 8 chips.
Small ball. He did it.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I'm going to do 10 chips.
If you go for 12, I'll give you a chance at your money back.
All right, fine. It's in. I'm not even going to look.
That's good.
He gets his money back?
You know what? He does deserve it.
For his second attempt, 16 chips.
Wow,
Wow. Really?
You got it or not?
I think he got it. He got it.
The mouth still nursing a bad ankle from event number 1. We'll try 12 chips.
Here it goes. It's happening. Oh, it's bad start. Very bad start. Super bad start. Crumbled into the 0.
Good job, Mikey.
He's gonna go 12 chips and try for second. When you're ready.
I think you screwed up.
No, I think he got it. I would say it's
Barely
definitely
got it. It was leaning, but you got second place.
Going for the win.
In a flying Wallenda move, Jean Robert Balan will do 18 chips and go for the win.
You got to respect the man who goes for flow.
Oh, he's on.
Not even looking. Wiggle.
Oh my God, he might have made it.
You did not make it.
It felt good.
Phil Locke wins event number 3. Helmuth and JRB tied for second.
Yeah, you got jiggle drop. You got it. Jiggle drop and speed.
Norman, I used to feel so ashamed that I cannot riffle chips. Now, not so much.
Well, there are a lot of things you can't do that they can't
You
do.
do anything else in the summer? You had anything?
4 cashes before this.
Any final tables or wins?
No final tables. They were all like pretty much minimums.
Did you play a lot? Did you play a lot of events?
This is my 30th event this summer.
Oh my God, you're an animal. You are an animal. I don't know. That's awesome. 30th event?
Yeah, I worked hard this summer.
Dan Smith seems unimpressed, and what's working hard for Matt Waxman, I'm sure, is just another day at the office for Tony Roberto.
Dan Smith was a chess meister as a youth, looked into getting a college scholarship for chess, but then turned to poker with ace queen of diamonds, a raise to 70,000. The blinds are up to 15 and 30,000 with a 5K ante.
He shoved, and then the guy called it ace jack.
Griffin Benger now, also with ace queen.
Well, as you know, neither can win the hand.
That's right. Benger with a button. Will make the call. Small blind Ryan Fair joined the table recently. Folds a weak ace in the big blind. Ben Gold with ace jack.
LA business litigation attorney. I've played with him some at Hollywood Park. Don't recall ever beating him. Stinking lawyer.
Third main event, third cash, and he'll come along. 3 players will see this flop. Ace queen, ace jack.
Oh, really?
And the flop is deuce 6-10 rainbow, ace jack coming up way short, and gold checks to Smith.
If you don't bet, it's a good bet Dan Smith will.
100,000 from Dan, and now Benger with the same hand, ace queen, with position. Just calls, and Gold folds his dominated hand.
Ace queen against ace queen. I don't like either hand.
Turn card is a jack. Oops, where's Mr. Gold? Watching on the sidelines.
Smith worked as a camp counselor in high school. I can't quite envision that.
He has a flush draw now.
300,000.
He bets 300,000.
Benger might not be ready to wither away yet. I would fall in love with a fire hydrant before I'd fall in love with ace queen.
Benger commits 300,000 to the pot.
I am constantly amazed, Lon, at how these pots are contested with squadouche.
The river card, 9 of hearts, no flush, so a guaranteed chop pot if there's a showdown. Personally, I find chop pots to be a colossal waste of time.
We only live, what, how long?
70, 80 years.
Tops!
700,000.
Well, Dan seems to agree with me as he bet 700,000.
Well, if Benger calls, they would chop the pot. If he raises, he'd probably take the pot.
Griffin Benger folds. He was put in a very tough spot by Dan Smith, who will earn that entire pot.
Yeah, I can't see how Benger could have called that river. He loses to a lot of hands Smith might be bluffing with.
The Canadian Benger loses 14% of his stack. Dan Smith now with 111 big blinds.
Hey, how you doing? Welcome. This looks like such a fun table.
Yeah, it's like Dave and Buster's with chips.
Kane Callis joining the table. He's the son of the late great sportscaster Harry Callis. So let's go to an outer table. We take a look at Nathan Fletcher, who opened raise with pocket 8s to 75,000. Action on Mark Chirsch in the hoodie with pocket 6s.
German-born Austrian pro.
And he's going to re-raise to 145. Curtis Rystadt now. Rystadt looks down at pocket kings.
Rystadt hates playing pots without Kyle Keranen. He doesn't quite know what to do without his buddy.
Just a call from Rystadt with the pocket kings.
Yeah, I don't like flat calling kings there in a three-way pot pre-flop. You want to chase an ace out if you can, and you don't want multiple opponents coming at you trying to flop three of a kind.
The blinds fold, so back to Fletcher, the original raiser with pocket eights.
Fletcher, a Canadian day trader, which is a kinder, gentler version of an American day trader.
No reported tournament earnings, and he will come along.
3 pocket pairs. I am predicting a king 6-8 flop.
Queen 10 jack flop, all clubs.
I'm sure Maria Ho would have nailed that flop.
Fletcher with the highest flush draw with a straight flush draw. And he says all in for 575.
He pushes with just under 20 big blinds left.
Schiersch folds.
I call. Hands, please.
Rystadt with the kings. He makes the call. Fletcher at risk.
Can't blame Fletcher for that shove with flush and straight draws, plus the pocket pair. It looks like that this is going to work out for Curtis, but Fletcher with a bunch of outs.
Clear the board, please.
Turn card, ace of spades, and Curtis turns Broadway, but he's not bulletproof.
Clear the board. Any red card.
Put a king on the river.
Yeah.
Not the king.
Thanks,
of
Bob.
clubs. No, king of hearts. King of hearts.
No.
Not the king of clubs.
Fletcher's got to have a club to win.
And it is a red queen on the river. Rystadt wins it. Fletcher will head to the cashier's window. Fletcher knocked out in 116th place. He'll win over 52 grand. So as Nathan makes his exit, Kyle Keranen sits and watches Curtis Rystadt continue to chip up. It is that time. Break down the tables, get them ready for next year, but not all of them. 13 tables still in action. Under the gun with pocket queens, Dan Smith raised to 70 grand. It's been folded to Kane Callis in the big blind with queen 9, who feels like defending.
Unlike Griffin Benger and Matt Waxman, Callis can actually sing. He sang the national anthem at many Phillies games his father was broadcasting.
Top 2 for Callis, but he's in deep trouble. He checks it to Smith, who has top set.
Boy, that flop is going to have Kane Callis singing the blues soon.
Dan Smith, no slow play here.
Not with that draw-heavy board.
He's hoping Kane got a piece of it. He does bet $125,000.
Kane Callis flops top 2, and he's drawn dead to running cards to a straight or running 9s for quads.
Callis came to this table with just over 2 million chips, and he thinks he's good. There's a check raised to 335.
Are those all your lavenders?
I hate when people ask me about my lavenders. And historically, when Dan Smith asks about your lavenders, they are soon gone.
Dan Smith with the set of queens, just a call. And now King Callis, who's a very good poker player, is in deep trouble. Turn card. Ace of hearts. Callis now officially drawing dead.
That card might save Kane Callis. You know, Ace-Queen certainly was in Smith's range. Smith even could have been holding something like Ace-9 suited.
But Callis cutting out some chips. $395,000 now.
Kane still likes his hand.
Dan Smith loves his hand.
All in.
Smith puts Callis all in.
Callis still would be left with more than 40 big blinds here if he can fold. Wow, Kane looks at Dan, and Dan swallows like he's worried. Camp counselors shouldn't give out false tells.
Call.
Kane Callis makes his last call of this main event. He's been knocked out by Dan Smith.
Nice hand, Dan.
Thank you.
That's how swiftly your main event crashes to a close.
Look at that card. Good luck, buddy.
Appreciate it. Nice game.
Callis's 2 million chips go to his left. Kane Callis with his best ever World Series of Poker cash.
Good luck, man.
Our player tracker illustrates all the good that just happened to Dan Smith, adding over 2 million new chips to his bank and moving him up the leaderboard into 4th place. So now it's time for the DraftKings.com King of the Night. No surprise here. It is one of the game's best, Dan Smith, now in 4th place with 114 players remaining.
He won a super high roller just before the main event for $2 million. He's trying to make that look like chump change, eyeing the $10 million first prize here.
Bruno Politano still in first, followed by Mark Newhouse and Spain's Andoni Larabe.
Newhouse seeking improbable November 9 back-to-back magic, and I'm still rooting for Leaf Force. If you don't love Leaf Force, you don't love life itself.
Call and you're gone is never a good feeling tonight. We saw it twice.
Good luck, buddy. Appreciate it. Nice game.
While Matt Waxman was busy making big laydowns.
I'm going to lay down a good one. Griff, big laydown.
Dan Smith was busy making big moves.
And you're an animal.
A dramatic day 5 is reaching its conclusion.
You got it. If you want.
Controversy at the main event.
Any pot. Blind, I'm going to call.
You're the man.
Because I'm going to stack you.
You're the man.
Gone.
You know you're making the big hand face, right?
Is this the big hand speech?
I'm gonna lay down a good one.
Welcome back to the World Series of Poker main event. Day 5 is wrapping up as the quest for $10 million continues. I'm Lon McCarran with Norman Chad and Kara Scott, and we get right to the action at an outer table.
You know, Kyle?
Curtis Rystadt continuing to hound pro Kyle Keranen. Keranen checks after hitting middle pair. Rystadt with top pair bet 60,000.
There's reality TV, and then there's Rystadt TV. Kyle Keranen wishes he could just turn the channel.
And Kyle makes the call.
It's been a tough day for Kyle, and he's got chips.
Turn card ace of diamonds. Kyle aces up now, and he's got the lead. He checks again. And Curtis checks back. River card 6 of diamonds. Aces up is good here for Keranen.
And I guarantee you, Keranen is comfortable with aces up in this spot.
These guys live for taking chips off one another. Here comes a bet.
I call.
And Rystadt will be handing chips to his adversary.
That was a great turn for you. What's on aces and fours?
Curtis played it well until the river.
Rystadt stack drops, while Kyle now sits with nearly 4 million chips.
You turned me, Kyle.
What do they say? One good turn deserves another?
There you go, Kyle. That's good. That's good. I like it. I did turn you. Yeah, yes.
While Keranen continues to impress, no one's impressing more now than Mark Newhouse.
If this guy makes back-to-back main event final tables, I will walk the entire Las Vegas Strip barefoot while singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
If Slow and Steady wins, Maria Ho is ready.
If she makes the main event final table, I believe she should also broadcast it. I'm sure everyone agrees I could use a day off.
Few players have more respect at the table than that man, Dan Smith.
In New York City, the name Dan Smith means one thing: the guy who will teach you to play guitar. If you don't know what that means, just trust me.
Here's the current top 10. Bruno Politano over 6 million, but Mark Newhouse shining very brightly on that list.
Dan Smith in 4th place, and my guy Leaf Force is in 8th place. How come we never see him? Jeez!
In the poker world, there are records everyone talks about. Dan Harrington made back-to-back final tables in 2003 and 2004. Stu Unger won 3 main events. With 114 players left, Mark Newhouse is about 100 players away from entering that conversation.
In a field of 6,000 plus last year, he finished 9th. In a field of 6,000 plus this year, he's in 2nd place with 114 players left. Mark Newhouse is stalking back-to-back main event final tables against staggering numbers. Just thinking about the statistical improbability of it all would blow my mind if I still had a mind left. Is Mark Newhouse a better player than everyone else? I doubt it. So how's he doing it? I have absolutely no idea.
Mark told us he's playing this with a calmness and focus he could not attain in 2013. Experience is gold at the main event. Seated at Newhouse's table is another player with main event success, Chris Johnson.
Yeah, he's looking for back-to-back top 100 finishes in the main event, almost Mark Newhouse-like.
Chris's cash here at the 2014 main event gives him 15 for his career. Born in Nebraska, Chris attended the University of Nebraska, where he got a BA in marketing.
4 World Series cashes this year, 7 of them last year, and Chris also won a World Series circuit ring in Las Vegas in 2011.
Johnson with king, queen suited saw Gianfranco Vasali open up with ace-9 for 60,000.
Vasali, a poker pro / croupier. I'd love to put croupier on my resume.
I'd love to have sommelier on my resume.
No, you're play-by-play.
You're right. Johnson called Newhouse with queen, 9 of clubs.
Yeah, why not? He's got 2 cards that are suited and semi-connected.
He makes the call. That's Vadim Markushevsky in the big blind, queen 10.
Yeah, that's another loser hand with or without a hoodie. I don't like any of these hands, Lon. It feels like going to a flea market and you can't find anything good.
So Vasali open raised and got 3 callers, all who hold a queen. All right, 4 to the flop. King, 6, 8, 2 clubs, a pair of kings for Johnson to take the lead. Newhouse checks his flush draw. Markushevsky missed and checks. Vasali checks.
Johnson should bet here. No one showing any interest in the pot, and he's got top pair, plus he's happily married. Good spot for him.
And with top pair, he bets 125,000. Mark's not going anywhere. Markushevsky does fold. Original raiser Vasali gets out of the way, heads up now. Newhouse with the club draw, Johnson with top pair. 3 of clubs on the turn, and Newhouse gets his flush. And he checks again. Johnson checks back. Nice move. River card, 10 of spades.
Well, you make final tables by hitting cards, but you also make them by slow playing big hands and maybe getting your opponent to pay you off on the river.
Newhouse looks like he might want to drive the action here. 375.
Yeah, betting here both when you're bluffing and when you have it is called balancing your range, but we don't talk about those things, Lon.
Newhouse looking for his 2nd straight main event final table. He finished 9th last year.
Top pair good kicker would look pretty good to me here if I were Chris Johnson.
There's the call, there's the flush. Hand him over, Chris. Chris Johnson misses out on a pot he thought was his, and he now falls below the 1 million chip mark, while Mark Newhouse has risen to the penthouse here at the Rio. He is the day 5 chip leader. So Mark once again stacking chips, which is nothing new to him. It's what his life is all about these days.
My very first experience in poker was like $20 home games with friends. I went to college in North Carolina, dropped out of school. I came out west.
No NBA for Newhouse. Poker, baby.
I suppose it could have been worse.
I've been spending a lot of my life, last 8 years, doing the casino grind.
And I think he's been wearing the exact same clothes every day since last year's final table, and it works.
If I want to tell somebody what I do, I say I'm a poker player. As a poker player, you got to work. And you do have to put in hours. I mean, yeah, obviously I've put a lot of work into the game. You don't have a lot of responsibility, but you do deal with a lot of stress and swing.
Mark Newhouse still in contention for unlikely back-to-back main event final tables.
Maybe a better way to describe it would be just degenerate. You know, degenerate is a word that has a negative connotation, but the way that I describe myself is it's just kind of living under the radar. It's just the life that I live. For me, it is a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle I've grown accustomed to, and it just means you're sort of apart from the norm.
If he makes back-to-back main event final tables, I will climb the Sears Tower in flip-flops.
Last couple of years, I've just kind of been living like a little gypsy life, you know? It's something I've grown accustomed to, but something that I'm looking to end. It's a life that gets old. When I was younger, I used to really have an ego. I wanted to be the best. At this point, I'm really completely over that. I'm just looking to chill.
He's got some great instincts. Can he really get there again? November 9 last year, this year?
Back to action at Mark Newhouse's table. Action folded to him with pocket sixes. He calls Jason Leifer's raise, holding ace-queen off under the gun.
Sadly, Newhouse might be the 3rd best dressed player at this table.
Fold it around. Nobody wants to get into the hand with Newhouse and Leifer.
I believe Leifer is wearing a short-sleeve sweatshirt. Kids today.
The table may not know Mark's the overall chip leader, but they do know he's got a ton of chips. 4 queen 10, top pair, top kicker for Leifer.
Leifer's family runs a wholesale hydroponics business. I don't know what that is, but it allows Jason to play poker in LA while his brother takes care of the business.
And top pair, top kicker is worth a bet of $85,000. Pocket sixes for Newhouse, and he'll stick around.
Oh, why not? I'm a November Niner.
All right, turn card now. Is a 6 and a set for Mark Newhouse. Once again, it's a card and a check from Leifer. How does he know?
That's a ridiculous card line. You go set mining on the flop, not the turn.
And there's a bet from Newhouse, 175.
Top pair, top kicker looks real good here, but it is ace-queen, so of course he had no chance.
But there is a call from Leifer, and they build a pot of $725,000. River card. Deuce of spades. What does that change, Norman?
It doesn't change anything, anytime, anywhere.
Leifer checks again.
Now see, in this spot, Mark often bets if he's missed his flush or straight draw, so when he's got a set of sixes like he does here, he'll often get paid off.
$500,000 is what he is tempting Leifer with. And there's a call. Newhouse turns the set and keeps right on rolling. The chip leader getting stronger. And when you're running this hot, it just makes sense to wear shades. Mark Newhouse leading the way. The Las Vegas Strip at dusk. The sun might be setting on one of our 4 remaining female players. That's Darlene Lee. She is all in with the short stack with ace-jack. Billy Pappas in the green hat, shoved with pocket 4s. Action is on Nicholas Nardella with pocket jacks. He calls. Pappas is all in.
Oh my God.
Folded to Justin Swilling, and he shoves with ace-king of spades. So back to Nardello and his jacks. He's got them all covered. And he calls. So 3 players all in, 2 different side pots. Nardello, the biggest stack, can bust all 3 of them. All right, here's our flop. 10, 4, 9, a set of 4s for Pappas.
And Pappas now staring at a quadruple up.
This hand has attracted quite a crowd. Turn card, 8 of clubs. The foosball king is still best.
If a jack comes, Nardello would knock out all 3 opponents.
It's another 9. Pappas will take most of the chips.
Yes, sir.
Good hand, man.
Swilling is out along with Darlene Lee. Pappas nearly quadruples up.
Way to get it in good, bud. Way to get it in good.
Swilling takes 112th place.
With 52 grand, Swilling can upgrade the wardrobe.
Best hand I ever seen.
Darlene Lee out in 113th.
She also cashed at this year's ladies event. We're down to 3 women in the main event.
Pappas vaults to over 1.6 million, taking the main and 1 side pot, while Nardello takes the larger side pot. So Billy will hang around with fellow main event first-timer Tom Serra Jr.
I'm a foosball player. I'm actually one of the best in the world, and I was supposed to be in Austria this weekend for a tournament. In 2 weeks, I'll be in Germany, and I'll stay there for like a month. I used to be able to do it for a living, because I used to win all the time. It's not so exhausting for me, because foosball tournaments, you get to stand up all day and play 13 hours a day. I'm never exhausted. I'm used to this kind of grind. I'm just a poor kid with a pipe dream. One of those, dreamers who've been dreaming of this since 2005. It's my first time I could afford it. The experience is nothing like it. It's the best experience I've ever had.
Once I got traction on day 1, I felt like my destiny was to go deep. It's unbelievable. I'm learning from all these guys around me. A couple of first-time main events here. Chatting it up a little bit.
Pappas and Sarah, a couple of poker dealers sitting next to each other deep in the main event, and you know these 2 very nice fellows treat the fine staff of poker dealers here at the World Series very, very well.
Sarah with a very nice stack for a seasoned vet, much less a main event rookie. So the field a little closer to breaking the 100-player mark, 110 left now. Back to Mark Newhouse, the chip leader who raised with 9-4 off from early position.
Yeah, I only raised with 9-4 off in early position at non-televised events.
From the button, Jason Leifer called with king-queen off. Chris Johnson with a small ace.
The weak ace can only destroy a good marriage.
And he calls, so 3 players will see this flop. Newhouse got the ball rolling, and here is a flop for king 9. No way! Newhouse flops bottom 2, while a pair of kings comes for Leifer.
That's the 5th best flop for 9-4 off, according to my Texas Hold'em flop app.
Johnson checked. Newhouse bets 100,000. Leifer not going anywhere, makes the call, and Johnson folds.
This isn't rivalry week at ESPN, but Newhouse and Leifer will go at it again.
5 of diamonds. I'm shocked. No full house for Mark Newhouse.
What are the great poker rivalries? Amarillo Slim and Puggy Pearson, Matiso and Raymer, Helmuth and Northern Europe.
There you go. Newhouse bets 225.
And Mark hopes his hand gets shown down. It does great things for his image.
And Leifer once again thinking, I've got to be best against Newhouse with that board.
Hydroponics is probably an easier business than poker.
And there is the call from Jason. River card, tray of hearts, and Newhouse fooling around in early position comes up gold. Tosses out 400,000 casually.
Yeah, last time against Newhouse, Leifer flopped top pair, top kicker, and it didn't hold up. This time he flopped top pair, good kicker, and again, it's no good. I think the short sleeve sweatshirt is holding Leifer down.
There's the call. 9-4. Oh, I think Leifer thought he'd won the pot.
Yeah, he did. And if Jason Leifer had a gardening hoe right now, I'm not sure what he would do with it.
He gives up 30% of his ammunition to Newhouse, and Mark is all smiles right now, and why not? Day 5 has been a dream. He is the chip leader at the main event with the final table firmly in sight again. Welcome back to the Rio. Earlier on day 5, Kyle Keranen and Curtis Rystadt win at each other on the felt, both with chips and with words. In this hand, Curtis cracked Kyle's aces.
Call. Oh, that's a shame. That's a full boat. Thanks for playing. Any pot. Blind, I'm going to call.
You're the man.
Because I'm going to stack you.
You're the man.
Gone. Get in pots with me, please. I want the full value.
Yeah, you got it there, man. Got that one bet. That's full value.
Well, you can't put them. I can't get them from you if you don't put them in.
The mood has lightened a bit. Maybe they're going to counseling.
Rystadt down to 2.1 million. Keranen with nearly 4 million. Keranen opens the pot to 100,000 with ace-10 of clubs.
Day 5 of the 2014 main event has been defined by the Kyle Keranen-Curtis Rystadt combustible combo.
100 players left, folded to Rystadt with King 4 of spades.
You get the feeling that if Curtis were dealt one card, he would play a hand against Kyle. And remember, it was Queen 4 that cracked Keranen's aces. Rystadt can't resist.
He does call for 70 grand more from the big blind.
This might be the best rivalry in sports right now.
King 6, Queen, oh, clubs, Keranen with an ace-high flush and a draw to a royal. Rystadt checks top pair.
Yeah, my Texas Hold'em flop app indicates that this is the second best flop for Kyle's hand.
I want that app. 80,000 from Kyle Keranen with the ace-high flush.
Yeah, I thought Kyle might slow play it and hope Curtis stabs at it on the turn.
Curtis with the call. Turn card, deuce of hearts.
That probably doesn't change anything.
Never. Rystadt checks again. Keranen, though, reaching. How much more can he get from Curtis Rystadt? Keranen bets 180,000 this time.
Curtis with top pair, no kicker, no club, but he's on a mission. Take all of Kyle's chips or die trying.
$400,000.
A check raise from Curtis Rystadt to 400,000. Music to Kyle's ears.
Yeah, Kyle Keranen finally has the moment he's been waiting for most of day 5. Curtis Rystadt drawing dead and raising him.
And Curtis repping the hand that Kyle has. Keranen just calls.
Well, if you believe in poetic justice, you are watching some great video evidence.
All right. The river card now. is a 4, and Curtis just rivered 2 pair against the flush.
400,000.
A confident 400,000 from Curtis.
Curtis leaves himself about $1 million behind, more than 30 big blinds.
400,000.
And now Kyle Keranen, who flopped the ace-high flush, will try to get the rest of that man's stack.
And boy, Kyle waiting quite a while before he raises Curtis all in.
So much history between these two.
All in. All in.
There it is.
The talk has subsided for Curtis Rystadt, a moment of truth with his main event on the line.
I do not think he expected that, Norman.
Wow. I really think you have an ace of clubs with a king.
He's half right. Half right here is all wrong.
You know that, Kyle? I think you have the ace of clubs with a king.
If he truly believes that, he will be gone when he calls off his chips.
Trying to tell me you flopped on that flush. Called, slow played it.
This is the inner voice Curtis should be listening to.
All the sparring that has taken place now culminates with this moment.
That's what I think you have, and then I think you Hollywood it to go all in. You Hollywood the call, turn, you Hollywood the river. Still have over $1 million if I lay it down, but I actually think I just sucked out on you on the river. I call.
And there it is!
Nice hand.
Rystadt is gone!
You win.
Kyle Keranen survives his all-day human nightmare.
Hey. Hey, dude, man, it was nice playing with you.
You bet.
A gracious farewell from Kyle to the burr in his saddle. Curtis Rystadt out in 100th place. Curtis made a lot of waves at this main event, but he's the one who is sunk at the hands of Kyle Keranen. And you can see on our player tracker, Kyle will now stack over 6.1 million. He's in 3rd place, in great shape to erase his main event demons from 2 years ago when he came up short of his goal.
Well played, Kyle. Well played.
Thank you. You know how long me and him have been going at it?
Well, I heard, yeah.
12 hours. I've been messing with this guy 10 hours now. He's been on my right there. All right, Annie's please. I've got here today. 2 seats to my left. And now I busted him. I mean, that's just the best thing that could ever happen. He was giving me such a hard time on TV table too, man. It was unbelievable. You guys will probably see it on TV, man. I'm gonna look not the best on TV because
Yeah, but they'll show that last hand too.
he like tilted me so hard.
They'll show you revenge hand.
So the Rystadt-Keranen saga ends with fireworks. Kara Scott is with Curtis now.
And we've lost Curtis Rystadt here. You had a smile on your face all day, and watching you play was really interesting. So is there a positive that you can take away from this?
Oh, absolutely. I can do it. And I always thought I could. I know some other people, you think, people say that, but you don't know if you can do it. So I came to try to win, and I didn't try to min cash. So if I'm right there, I'm a big chip leader, and I have a really good chance to make the final table and win. And that's why you play. You try to win.
You had, as you say, a lot of history with Kyle. So what kind of player was he at the table?
Before we got on TV, he was the biggest stack at the table, and he pushed on us and pushed. And I could see that style of play, because when I have a big stack, I do the same thing. So I recognized it, and I wanted to catch him, and I ended up catching him a couple times. But I never really made him pay for it. And here is one time I thought I was going to be able to make him pay for it, but this time he woke up with the nuts. So what can you do?
Well, thank you so much for talking to us. It was a pleasure watching you. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
I mean, he was a nice guy, I'll be honest with him. I mean, he gave me a real hard time, but at the end of the day, we kind of made up, and he was cool with me. We had a big fight on TV.
Really?
Yeah, we were at each other's throats.
He was
messed up.
He was a pretty emotional guy.
Yeah. So, I don't want to badmouth him. He just made my life pretty hard for a long time today.
Any pot, blind I'm gonna call.
You're the man.
'Cause I'm gonna stack you.
I really think you have an ace of clubs with a king. I call. Nice hand. You win.
You know how long me and him have been going at it?
Well, I heard. Yeah.
12 hours. And now I busted him. I mean, that's just the best thing that could ever happen.
Back inside the Amazon room, a venue that just got a little quieter with Curtis Rystadt's exit. Mark Newhouse still on top comfortably. Kyle Keranen into second.
Lee Force in 10th. Can't you give him some love?
Well, poker pro Matt Waxman is now at the featured table. Earlier, he reflected on this summer's World Series of Poker.
Well, this whole entire summer, every tournament after I busted, I said, you know, that's okay. I might have played that hand bad, but we're bringing it for the main. You're always going to make the wrong decision at least once a tournament. But I've really been buckling down and just using all my discipline and trusting my instincts so far.
I always make the wrong decision at least 15 times a tournament.
You don't ever last long enough to make 15 mistakes.
Good for you.
Waxman in the cutoff position, one before the button. Raised it up to 60,000 with King Jack. On the button is Jeff Loiocano with Ace 7.
I love this guy because he's worked in every restaurant in Southern California, In-N-Out, Olive Garden, Fridays, Rainforest Cafe, Tony Roma's. He's a food service grinder.
33-year-old poker pro now. Loiocano, with that ace, raises the action to 180,000.
Well, I hope he waited on his customers faster than he makes 3 bets pre-flop.
Now, Dan Smith in the big blind.
Fold.
6 tray, and he announces fold.
Looks like he's tired of seeing 6 tray. Hey, we're all tired of seeing 6 tray, buddy.
Waxman now, the original raiser, has been re-raised by Loiocano.
Waxman, no shades, no hoodie, clean look. He's a cut above the average 20-something pro.
Well, he's behind, out of position against a bigger stack. Why wouldn't you call?
Oh, all of a sudden, you're Mr. No Limit Hold'em expert pro critic.
9-7-5, 2 diamonds. Waxman missed. Loiocano with middle pair. Matt checks.
Loiocano wanted to be a professional skateboarder, but he was waiting tables at Macaroni Grill in 1999, and a guy there invited him to a home game, and bang, poker it was.
And he puts 200,000 together.
As you pointed out, Waxman out of position, without a hand, but with chips in hand.
And suddenly, that has the attention of Loiocano. And here is a check raised to 480,000. That's crafty.
Loiocano also cashed at last year's main event, but at the moment, making double-doubles at In-N-Out might seem like an easier career path. When I get check raised, Lon, I fold like 98% of the time.
The other 2%?
Go to the bathroom.
So the bracelet winner putting heat on Loiocano.
You look really nervous. I'll fold.
Jeff folds.
Loiocano, right read, wrong move. Waxman, right move, if somewhat nervously.
Matt swooped in for the check raise, boosting his total to almost 2.8 million. So Loiocano can't pull the trigger, giving a nice pot to Matt. Right now here are Phil Locke and Antonio Esfandiari with an explanation of what just went down.
Both these players have a lot of experience. I've been playing with Jeff in cash games in LA for about a decade now, and Waxy's a fine player as well.
Right, I mean, Waxy's a very tough player. I think he's very good at reading people, and I think the read he gets is that Jeff 3-bet him pre-flop, and so on a flop of 9-7-5, it's unlikely that he connected with that kind of flop, given that he had raised them pre-flop.
He's hoping for the high Broadway cards, like ace-queen, ace-jack, that sort of thing.
And so if he has one of those hands, I think the check raise is fantastic. He happened to have middle pair, but even then, when someone check raises you, it's really tough to call with just middle pair on a board like that. And so I really like Waxy's play. I think it works more often than not. And
if it doesn't work, Waxy has the turn to get a little more frisky if you need it.
That's correct. This is just an example of going with your read and understanding the situation and just going for it. And I love the play.
I can't make that play, and if I were Loiacono, I would have folded 2, which would have been my 15th wrong decision of this main event.
We'll keep it here. Dan Smith, Queen 9 of clubs.
Terrible omen. I'm going to make it 90,000 anyway.
The harder you bang the table with your chips, the weaker your hand is. Even I know that.
Please don't slam on my big blind.
In my club, I will slam the chips whenever I please.
Folded to Griffin Benger in the small blind with ace-queen, and he's going to re-raise to 260,000.
Of course Benger was going to 3-bet there. If he's read Zachary Elwood's Reading Poker Tells or Verbal Poker Tells, he'd know Smith is weak. Left hand on right shoulder is the in vogue poker posture. I have no idea why.
260?
170,000 more is the call from Dan Smith.
No one, and I mean no one, Lon, 3-bets Dan Smith and gets him to fold.
So to Phil and Antonio's point, Benger re-raises pre-flop with big cards. Perhaps Dan will act accordingly post-flop. Jack 10-7, Benger with a gut shot. Smith open-ended, but the king's no good. That would give Benger a higher straight. Benger checks.
This looks like a good spot for Smith to pick up the pot with a semi-bluff. Or not.
Or not, exactly. All right, 5 of hearts helps neither player. Benger checks again. As does Smith. River card, tray of diamonds. Ace high is best for Benger. Nobody pairs up, he checks.
Oh, now Dan Smith's taking my advice. 2 streets, too late.
275?
275 after Benger seemed uninterested to this point.
Well, Benger left with just ace high. It is the best hand. I don't want to pick on Griffin Benger because he's a terrific player, but we've seen him make 15 poor decisions on day 5 alone.
There's another fold, and they say there's no skill in the game. But Dan Smith will take the pot with a perfectly timed river bet.
Nice hand, Dan.
Thanks.
Smith just looks like he's going to win most pots.
Benger having very little fun, now below average.
Did you have it?
I did not have it. I had a tier 2 hand.
Dan Smith chipping up on guile alone.
Slightly weak tier 2, I think.
Deep thoughts by Dan Smith. Welcome back to the Rio, celebrating its 10th anniversary of hosting the World Series of Poker. 90 players remain in the 2014 edition, including 2 first-timers we've been following, Billy Pappas on the left and Tom Serra Jr. on the right. Divorce attorney Marcia Kuntz just hit the rail.
A little disappointed with the ending, but you know, obviously I'm thrilled. It's a lot of money. It was an amazing experience. And I really look forward to next year.
Last year, I won the China Nation Championship, so this is a part of their prize. I feel okay with my play, but because this is the first time, I got no idea how far I can go. I retired at 29-year-old from financial investment. For the past almost 20 years, I just traveling around and play poker, do some painting, some artwork, just for fun, just live my life. My lowest chip count was 50,000, and since that, it's just keep building up, never go down again, just keep up and up. And now I feel pretty comfortable.
I always like investors turned artists. It makes the world a better place. But this dual citizenship business, I don't like. Pick a country and stick with it.
Gua and everyone else in the contest chasing Mark Newhouse. The 2013 November Niner is the day 5 chip leader right now. He has ace-jack on the button.
Newhouse is an American citizen. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Didn't you promise to swim naked in the LA River if he makes the November 9 again?
Yes.
I believe all of America is rooting against Mark Newhouse right now. Bozanovic, a pro from Serbia with pocket kings.
Serbian citizen. Big difference between Serbia and the U.S. Serbia is landlocked. The U.S. is not.
Vladimir won a WPT event in 2013. And with the 2 red kings and a raise in front of him, he re-raises to 210,000. Back to Newhouse now.
Now, we've got land and we've got oceans, but Bozanovic has pocket kings right now. You know, Newhouse plays so many weak hands that some of his other hands look strong when they really aren't.
And he re-raises Bozanovic all in, and Vlad makes the call with the kings. Newhouse with 1 over.
I love Newhouse. Such a what will be body language. He's thinking sometimes I'm ahead, sometimes I'm behind. What the heck?
Newhouse with a much bigger stack felt it was worth the risk. All right, here is the flop king, jack ace. Bozanovic with a set. Newhouse aces up.
Bozanovic in great shape to double up.
Vlad, you flopped a set. Smile. All right, turn card. Another jack. Both players with a boat. Bozanovic's is best.
Yeah, I think if you told Newhouse he'd make jacks full, he would have taken it. But Newhouse with just 3 outs to knock out Bozanovic.
It's an 8, and Bozanovic's double up is secure, but he had to sweat it the whole way. What a board.
So be it. I'll get them back later, or not.
Yep, a 5th of Mark's chips go away, as does his main event chip lead. Bozanovic with nearly $3.5 million can enjoy the moment for a few seconds and then get back to work. All right, let's get back to our featured table. Griffin Benger raised with pocket jacks, but was re-raised by Chad Evesledge with queens.
It looks like the Lon McCarron Memorial hand is going to bury Griffin Benger.
Evesledge, 22, lives near Miami, a poker pro.
I'm all in.
Player raises all in.
Call.
You heard him, the jacks are all in. The queens make the call.
Benger pushes with 27 big blinds left, and he is quite dismayed.
Griffin Benger in a world of trouble here.
It's really close.
Things for Griffin went from good to bad to worst here on day 5.
Let's see the flop, please.
And now the flop. King, Queen, 5. Evesledge with a set. Benger needs a hold'em miracle.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know how the Blue Jays ever won the World Series in 1992 and 93.
10 ball.
Looking for any hope, but the king on the turn ends it. Griffin Benger's run has been shut down.
Game, guys. Good luck, guys.
Evesledge scores the boat to sink Benger.
They cooler me. They cooler me.
Indeed, with a monster stack earlier, Griffin Benger seemed destined for a top 20 run, but his main event ends in 90th place. The final minutes of day 5 here at the 2014 World Series of Poker main event. 2 more days of play until we have our November 9. You see a few notable stacks there. Maria Ho hanging on with 11 big blinds. Lee Taylor on the left, open raise from the cutoff at this outer table with ace-8 of diamonds. Kyle Keranen has a bigger hand, ace-king, and twice the chip stack in the small blind, and he re-raises to 245.
Keranen looks the same in the post-Curtis Rystadt era as he did in the pre-Curtis Rystadt era, but I am sure he is so relieved.
Taylor, 44 years old, pretty much a full-time poker player from the UK. And Taylor casually re-raises to 685.
Taylor with the ambitious 4-bet.
Back to Kyle now.
All in.
He's got everybody here covered.
That should shut down the weak ace. And Taylor making the oopsie-doopsie pre-folding face.
I was just testing you. It is good to hold the hammer, and the sound of stacking chips pre-flop is sweet, sweet music to Kyle.
Keranen chipping up, playing his strong hands aggressively.
Kyle remaining on task, continues to be a force in the main event. We move to a different outer table where we get another look at foosball champ and first-timer Billy Pappas in the green hat. He's tripled his stack here on day 5. Billy, a world champion foosball player. My guess he's not a great guy to invite to your man cave.
The guy kills it in foosball. He's a hacky sack savant. He's obviously a good poker player, and I have zero doubt whatsoever that he would destroy my high score in Galaga.
All right, let's get over to Billy's table. Ace-jack of hearts. He flopped a flush draw. Now a slight favorite against the ace-king of Chris Shaw. Shaw checked.
Shaw, a stay-at-home Charlotte, North Carolina dad. He says he got lucky here after he took a picture with me on day 4. The people in my first wedding photos weren't as lucky.
Both flopped a wheel draw. Pappas bets 260,000.
I think that's Shaw under there.
And Shaw's got to come along. So over 1 million chips in this pot. Turn card. Jack of spades. That should make Pappas feel better. Shaw checks.
A big card for Pappas. Top pair now to go with his nut flush draw and gut shot.
Well, Billy checks back. River card. 7 of spades. No flush for Pappas, but his pair of jacks are best.
4 cards straight out there now. Shaw will bluff at this and test the foosball wizard.
And that is 550,000.
That's about half the pot.
As Pappas squirming a bit.
Yeah, I wonder if Billy talks to himself during his most difficult foosball moments.
No time to think in that game. You see how fast the ball moves? So Billy Pappas with top pair, top kicker. His rail has been quite fervent as of late. There's the call. And give Billy Pappas the pot.
Pappas almost mucked it. He thought he'd lost, and Shaw needs to take another picture with me.
Thank you.
Pappas over 3.3 million, just about everything going right for this first timer, but he's still not invited to my game room. Back to action. Mikio Aoki's great World Series could be ending. She's all in with pocket tens against the pocket kings of Eddie Sabat.
Aoki's had a great summer. Second in the ladies event, now top 100 in the main event.
Here at the flop, Jack, Trey, Deuce, no help for Aoki.
Yeah, she needs a lot of help.
The hearts don't help her. Eddie has the king of hearts. Turn card, Trey of diamonds, not a 10, and that's all Aoki cares about. Melissa Costello is Eddie's girlfriend. River card.
Yes!
Not a 10. Aoki is gone. Another fine payday for the amateur.
Boy, Eddie was not at risk, and a head in the hand, and it held. I'd hate to see his reaction if he sucks out.
Aoki out in 83rd place, and that leaves Maria Ho as the last woman standing in the main event. For Sabat, a much healthier stack now with 55 big blinds.
Good kid, but he's got to dress better.
Takes a lot out of you, like even just standing back here. But yeah, he was way short, like, I mean, 220,000 a couple levels ago, so back up to the 1 point whatevers. I'm happy about that.
Elsewhere, back-to-back November Niner hopeful Mark Newhouse with a chance to get some chips back from Vladimir Bozanovic. Maria Ho sitting at this table now, too.
By the way, this is the second time she's been last woman standing. 2007 was the first.
The Serbian poker pro Vladimir has king-queen. He re-raised Newhouse, who has ace-king.
Newhouse originally had min-raised.
And there is the call. So these two will go at it once again. The flop is 8-7, king, a king for both. Newhouse still the heavy favorite. He checks it.
This is setting up well for Mark Newhouse.
Bozanovic with top pair and a good kicker, and he's slow playing his hand as well. Turn card 6 of clubs. Newhouse still best. These two are the top stacks at this table. 200,000 for Mark.
Gotta like the way Mark has played this one. Just called the 3-bet pre-flop, then checked top pair, top kicker on the flop. No way Bozanovic suspects he's up against such a strong hand.
A call from the Serbian 10 of spades. Straight draw on the board, but it's Newhouse with the best hand.
That's a pretty safe card for ace-king. A 9 does make a straight, but Bozanovic unlikely to have a 9 in his hand with his pre-flop 3-bet.
Newhouse. 1 green, 3 lavenders. That's 325,000.
That is a United States single citizenship verified value bet. Nothing Bozanovic can do about it. Newhouse getting the best of it again and again.
Bozanovic calls. And as we've said time and time again, Newhouse running good and getting paid off. He is back into the main event chip lead. Mark Newhouse continuing to show the world he can go back-to-back 7.4 million chips. So Newhouse in great shape right now, as is Kyle Keranen, who's on Newhouse's heels.
Keranen with enough chips to buy Curtis Rystadt a drink.
Maria Ho still has chips, just not many of them.
But look, she's the last woman standing.
I'm ready for day 6. That's the truth.
So Mark Newhouse takes a giant leap on day 5 of the 2014 main event from 27th place to chip leader. For that, he is tonight's DraftKings.com King of the Night.
I won a few big pots early on, and I just got a monster chip lead. And it got to the point where I had so many more chips than everyone else that I could just raise every hand, and no one could really do anything about it.
Newhouse, the only player above $7 million, but Keranen and Scott Palmer are both over $6.5 million.
Wow, Newhouse on top with 79 players to go. He's 8 tables away from back-to-back main event final tables. Can't happen!
Mark Newhouse made a strong push for another final table. Curtis Rystadt shot at $10 million, ended dramatically.
What do you think you have? An ace of clubs with a king. You Hollywood the call, turn, Hollywood the river. I call. I see. You win.
You know how long me and him have been going at it? And now I busted him. That's just the best thing that could ever happen.
The Rystadt Keranen chapter is over, but the main event book is far from complete.
Yes!
For Norman, Chad, and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarran. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.